case out of New York City.
Luigi Mangione is expected to plead guilty as early as Friday in the federal case accusing him of stalking and killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The person speaking anonymously also says it's possible Mangione could change his mind. He's expected to attend a hearing Friday in the case. Mangione is accused of shooting Thompson outside a New York City hotel in December 2024. His lawyers and spokespeople for the Justice Department and Manhattan federal prosecutors have declined to comment. I'm Mike Hempen.
Indiana's governor deploying additional resources to deal with the impact of severe flooding. It's devastated so much of the state. Governor Mike Braun speaking in Cambridge City. It's about 50 miles east of Indianapolis.
We've got the National Guard involved up in the northwest because of all the debris, trees down everywhere. Here, there'll be a Black Hawk helicopter. Stay on call because sadly, the forecast says we could get 2 to 4 more inches down here.
Rescuers in Columbia are pleading for silence as they listen for signs of life in the rubble left by the deadly earthquake. The disaster has killed more than 280 people, hundreds more still missing. The call for quiet, part of a last-ditch attempt to find survivors in the aftermath of that 7.4 magnitude quake that hit the South American country on Monday. 8 agencies consider the first 2 to 3 days following a quake to be the prime window for rescuing survivors. On Wall Street, stock futures are mixed so far. Right now, the Dow futures are down 71 points. NASDAQ futures up 34. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Not one to say I told you so, but I switched to Pure Talk over a year ago, and ever since, I've been telling people there's no better wireless company out there. Well, a few months ago, a massive survey was conducted. 123,000 people were asked to rate their wireless carrier in 4 categories: coverage, support, data, and overall value. Well, the results are in. Guess which wireless company was the only wireless company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. 5 stars, every category. To celebrate, Pure Talk is offering the first 3 months of any plan for just $15 a month, including their top-tier unlimited plan. No contract, no commitment, just a very inexpensive way to test drive the only American wireless company with 5 stars in every category. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service will take it from there. Again, pound 250 micro. And yes, I told you so.
In a special election in Britain, Nigel Farage has beaten trash-can-wearing comedian candidate Count Binface. Farage regaining the seat in Parliament that he quit a month ago.
Nigel Farage has won a resounding victory. He won more votes today than he did at the general election 2 years ago. There were fewer votes cast today than that election 2 years ago, and yet he won more. And Reform UK will argue that that vindicates their decision to call this election and sends a message to that parliamentary investigation that's ongoing into his finances to say that this seat strongly backs Nigel Farage.
And that's the BBC's Harry Farley reporting. Firefighters in France and central England battling multiple fires amid record-breaking heat. France is experiencing its driest year ever, with a new fire forcing more than 500 people to evacuate their homes. News and analysis at townhall.com. Echoes of the far distant past are heard thanks to a dry spell in Italy's largest city.
Rome's ancient Nero's Bridge has re-emerged from the Tiber River as exceptionally low water levels expose parts of the historic structure near St. Peter's Basilica. Weeks of little to no rain have caused the Tiber's flow to fall below 80 cubic meters per second, that according to Rome's Civil Protection Service. Archaeologists say the bridge, traditionally associated with Emperor Nero, may actually predate his reign and have been built under his uncle, Emperor Caligula. The discovery comes as Rome faces a water crisis after prolonged dry periods. Keith Peters reporting.
President Trump plans to highlight his crime fighting and public safety record during today's visit to a New York police academy. He'll be releasing new FBI crime stats showing a decrease in violent crime in 2025. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Everybody's talking about weight loss injections because the results are so dramatic. They work by lowering blood sugar and reducing appetite. So, what if you're looking to lose weight but not interested in painful weekly injections, especially when you hear about some of those intense side effects? That's why doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are remarkable. The ingredients studied in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it into energy, and curb your appetite and cravings, so you're not as hungry. But listen, Lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. Get started with 20% off and free rush shipping so you can add Lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan. Go to takelean.com and enter the code Godzilla for your discount. That's discount code Godzilla at takelean.com.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pier 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus, free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
The Trump administration has brought positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. If we really want to make America healthy again, well, that starts at home. And that's where the Wellness Company comes in. You see and hear from the Wellness Company doctors all the time, and you know their products are the gold standard for keeping you and your family safe and healthy, giving you the opportunity to make sure you're prepared for whatever happens with their prescription medical kits. Additionally, the Wellness Company offers a variety of products, from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss and so much more. Make America healthy again starts at home. Do your part and protect the health of you and your family. Live a healthier, longer, and more satisfying life. Go to twc.health/Godzilla and order. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Use promo code Godzilla to save 10% today.
Well, happy Friday morning, everybody. We made it. This is the John Fredericks Media Network. I'm Dan Hopgood. Time for a look at, among other things, weather and sports. We'll start, as we always do, with where I am in the capital of the South, Richmond, Virginia, where the high today will be 89, with storms likely this afternoon, a low of 71 this evening, still with spotty storms expected. Right now, the temperature in RVA, 73 degrees. Squirrels winners in Harrisburg yesterday, 7-2. The two teams will face off again beginning at 7 p.m. tonight. In the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., the high today will be 87 with passing showers. A low tonight of 72, still with showers. Right now, the temperature in D.C., 78 degrees. The Nats blank the Cubs, 8-0. Up next for the Nats, Mets in New York. 7:10 first pitch tonight. Meanwhile, Dolphins at Commanders at 7 p.m. tonight. In Atlanta, high today of 96, a low of 74 with evening storms. Right now, the temperature in Georgia, 79 degrees. Choices aplenty for you folks down in Atlanta sports-wise tonight. The Braves welcome the D-backs to town for the weekend. They'll start at 7:15 tonight. Meanwhile, the Broncos at Falcons at 7 p.m. for the first preseason game for those two teams. In Nashville, a high today of 100. Woo! A low of 76 tonight. Right now, the temperature in Middle Tennessee, 78 degrees. Titans winners over the Niners in San Fran last night, 19-13. Philadelphia, your high today will be 88. A low this evening of 72. Right now, the temperature in eastern Pennsylvania, 78 degrees. The Phils topped the Twins 7-1 yesterday. Eagles at Ravens, 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Morgantown, high today for you this afternoon of 79 with possible storms. A low of 67 with passing showers. Right now, the temperature in wild and wonderful West Virginia, 71 degrees with rain. And last but certainly not least, after last night, how you feeling this morning, Yinzers? High today in Pittsburgh of 83 with early showers. A low tonight of Mario Lemieux, 66 degrees. Right now, the temperature of Evgeny Malkin, 71. Steelers winners 28-9 last night over the Packers, with the young quarterbacks looking a bit like Ron Burgundy, which is to say, good. I mean, really good. Buccos, I don't know what got into them last night. 13-1 winners over the Marlins. They'll welcome the Bo Sox to town for the weekend. First pitch tonight, 6:40 p.m. Meanwhile, Fernando Mendoza, the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft this past spring in Pittsburgh, threw a touchdown in his preseason debut for the Raiders. Bringing you today's weather and sports update is the Godzilla Wins radio show for the best insight, analysis, and picks. Watch and listen to Godzilla Wins tomorrow morning, as a matter of fact, from 9 to 11, all across the John Fredericks Media Network. Plus, to get John's daily sports picks, you know what to do. Go to GodzillaWins.com. Once again, that's GodzillaWins.com. All right, get those active minds ready for a few words to the wise. Okay, so yesterday I said that I'd cover the topic of being objective. I started to in the previous report by differentiating between being objective and being neutral. In contrast to being neutral, being objective requires analysis and evaluation. I also said yesterday that delivery of the news shouldn't be objective because the news itself is supposed to be the object, pre-evaluation. Well, conversely, being objective is post-object, post-information, post-fact, which gets us to the definition of being objective, engaging in evaluation based on fact, and the definition of objectivity, fact-based evaluation. Some try to claim that objectivity/being objective is impossible because nobody is omniscient and we all have different perspectives, vantage points. Au contraire, our different perspectives don't make being objective impossible. They're exactly what make it feasible. Without other people around, we wouldn't be able to confirm that our minds aren't playing tricks on us and that what we're seeing, hearing, etc. is truly real. Well, thanks to other people, we can confirm these things after all. For example, everybody out there right now, hey, you hearing this guy on the radio? What an idiot. Yeah, sure am. Man, they'll put anybody on the air these days. And look, as for the idea that we can't know anything because nobody knows everything, Aristotle resolved this thousands of years ago. He called it reaffirmation through denial. Observe that saying that we can't know anything because we don't know everything is itself a claim to knowledge. Anybody who makes such an assertion automatically contradicts himself. I had a crazy uncle who's no longer with us. I mean, he also was lovable, and I miss him, but he was crazy. Hell, we all have a crazy uncle. All my nephews and nieces would tell yins that I'm their crazy uncle. But I digress. The point is that my late uncle and I had a short conversation a couple of years before he died that went as follows, word for word. Dan! And this is how he really sounded. There's no such thing as truth! There's no such thing as truth! To which I responded, is that a fact? Dan, there's no such thing as certainty. There's no such thing as certainty. Me, are you sure? Dan, there's no such thing as a mind. Me, I can see why you might think so. So yeah, reaffirmation through denial. Remember that our overarching choice in life is to be or not to be. And that if you want to try to stay alive as best and as long as possible, which I assume is at least the tacit goal of everyone bothering to listen to me right now, moral choices for you are those that help you to achieve that overarching goal. Accordingly, being objective is imperative for the sake of your life and well-being. Anyone who wants to live and be happy owes it to himself to be ruthless in pursuit of objectivity. As with so many things, the person you'll foremost heart in the alternative is yourself. This provides a nice transition to what I intend to be the topic for Monday, the science of selfishness. Until then, this has been Dan Hobgood for the John Fredericks Media Network. Outside the Box with the Ox is next, followed by The John Fredericks Show. Stay tuned, everyone.
Faribault, Minnesota, 1926, a star was born. Herbert Sellner sketched, patented, and built the Tilt-A-Whirl. By September, it was already thrilling riders at the State Fair for 15 cents a ride. An NPR piece chronicles the development, which continues today with over 1,000 of these things at fairs and amusement parks nationwide. It tells how he first tried a boat amusement ride merry-go-round type thing that got destroyed in a storm. Also some sort of water toboggan, which was like a roller coaster and slide into a lake, among other fun contraptions. However, he died 4 years after inventing the Tilt-A-Whirl at 42, leaving his wife, 2 boys, and his brother, who took over the manufacturing operation, which stayed in the family until being sold in 2011. Wow! The story says that he originally named it the Tilt-A-Later. From his notes, he then changed the name, describing it as 9 cars, tilting, sweeping, spinning, swooping, swaying, speeding, sliding, skidding, rounding, rotating, rising, revolving, hesitating, flying, falling, curving, and circling, and calling it the Tilt-A-Whirl. 100 years later, kids of all ages still love it. And after that 100 years, a century later, another brilliant invention for the glee of our modern generation from outside the box. Hey kids, skip the line and the crowds and the noise, save your 15 cents, and sit still. Ignore everybody and everything around you and gaze at a 3x5-inch piece of plastic in your hand for hours every day. Thinking outside the box? Check back in 100 years on this one. Here outside the box with the Ox in the Eastern Time Zone and now in West Virginia on the John Fredericks Media Network.
John Fredericks.
It is the most egregious thing I've seen in a lifetime.
President Trump.
The whole thing is ridiculous.
When politics start getting wild.
They want to have every single thing that you don't want. Raise taxes, men and women's sports. They're going to open up their border.
Trump hits the speed dial.
Thank you for calling in on such short notice.
You came first.
Now, download the new WV Sports Nation app from the Apple Store or Google Play and get the entire Mountaineer sports world in the palm of your hand. Right now, get notified when new stories drop about your favorite Mountaineers teams and athletes. Download the WV Sports Nation app right now. Get updates on next level Mountaineers like Weatherholt and Joe Mazzulla. All that and more right in your pocket right now. Download the new WV Sports Nation app from the Apple Store or Google Play. Download the app right now.
You hear a lot about weight loss injections because the results are dramatic, but injections aren't for everyone. So doctors created a new generation weight loss supplement. This is non-prescription lean, and the science behind it is impressive. The studied ingredients in lean are intended to address weight loss in 3 powerful ways: help maintain healthy blood sugar, help control appetite, and help convert fat into energy so you burn it faster.
Get 20% off with discount code Godzilla at TakeLean.com. Code Godzilla at TakeLean.com.
Godzilla Wins, where you get the best insight and best information on how to win the most money ever.
Guess what? GodzillaWins.com. Let's talk more winners.
You heard the man. The all-new GodzillaWins.com is all about winners with fresh daily picks by J-Fred and
.com. Let's talk more winners.
If you want it straight, you know where to go. He rolls like thunder, head to toe. John Fredericks Radio Network. Godzilla of truth, hear that roar. Godzilla of truth. John Fredericks Radio Network. He brings the facts and he brings more. Godzilla of truth. From the back rows to the wire, he talks that hot truth fire. No polished mask, no paper crown. He tells it plain, he lays it down. If you want it straight, you know where to go. He rolls like thunder, head to toe. John Fredericks Radio Network. Godzilla of truth, hear that roar. Godzilla of truth. John Fredericks Radio Network. He brings the facts and he brings more. Godzilla of truth. Ooh.
live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network. It's the John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man about whom John Stamos once said, "Now there's a good-looking dude," John Fredericks.
Mr. Speaker, good to have you with us. I want to go back to the results of the 1994 election because the contract with America was stunningly successful. You picked up 52 seats in the House and 8 in the Senate. Now, of course, Bill Clinton was president at the time, so it was a vote against the administration. But can this contrast for America be anywhere near as successful as your contract was?
Oh, I think it could be even more successful because the Democrats now are even crazier. They're big government socialists with, as President Trump said in the State of the Union, they're just plain crazy in a lot of ways. And certainly having people come back on the campaign trail who are as crazy as their former candidate in Maine. All these things are coming together. The lieutenant governor in Minnesota, who won the Democratic primary, is way to the left and accepts no responsibility for one of the largest fraud campaigns in American history, which occurred while she was lieutenant governor. Just go state by state. And what you see is a Democratic Party, which I think if you go back historically and you look at McGovern, you look at Dukakis, you look at what we did in 1994, there are about 5 times now when the country has confronted a Democratic Party so far to the left that it's just totally unacceptable. And I think if the Republicans run a strategic campaign as a team, and certainly what Speaker Mike Johnson's doing, I think it could be a historic election on a scale that you can't quite imagine this evening.
I was chuckling at what you said about the Democratic Party being so far left in 1994, because if you took that Democratic Party and moved it forward to 2026, it would almost look like the Republican Party. I perused the Contrast for America website. They got some interesting graphics up here. The first one that you come across is this: the cost of communism, a timeline of failure. It's a timeline for all of the places in the world where socialism or communism failed. But the socialists this time around contend, well, that was all just bad timing. And the timing is right for it now, and America is the right place for it. They also have this common sense versus crazy, no tax and Social Security versus mass amnesty, protect women's sports, men and women's sports. It goes on and on and on. Do you believe this is a winning formula for this November?
I think if Republicans have the courage to stick to this choice and to drive it home, to make sure that every American understands that their local congressman or senator, the Democrats sound fine when they're back home. Then they get on an airplane, they come to Washington, and they join a group of people who are crazy, and they become crazy too. And the gap between what they do when they have power and how normal they seem at the local Rotary Club is just astonishing. If Republicans have the courage to take on, because there's going to be big pushback from the liberal media. So you have to take on the liberal media, you have to take on the Democrats, you have to stick to the big choices. But for example, the woman who was nominated in New York City, who said she doesn't like using napkins, she just wipes her hand on the American flag. I mean, can you imagine how few people there are who think that a Democrat who wipes her hand on the American flag is a reasonable person?
Yeah,
there
really
is
a case
after case like this.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we will see if the contrast for America is as successful as your contract was. Not long until we find out. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate your time.
You're on the John Fredericks Media Network, TGIF, and I am your Godzilla of the Truth in America, your Oracle of the Deplorables. Great day today. We're going to go to Delaware at 7:30, where we got Gene Tuano. He's the chairman of the Delaware Republican Party. As big companies are fleeing Delaware because of the nonsense going on, it used to be the #1 corporate place to go and incorporate. Now they're all leaving. In studio, live, 2 hours, Dave Bossy, committee man from Maryland. Dave also co-chair of the Trump for President campaign in 2016 and good friend of mine. We go back a long time. He's going to be here right in studio here in Washington, D.C. Let's roll with Dave Bossie coming up at 8 o'clock. Tom Emmer is going to be with us at 8:30 and RNC Chairman Joe Gruters, 9:30. So packed day, your calls, 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. Always welcome new callers. Don't be shy. We'd love to hear from you on this Friday, TGIF. So let's break down some of the things that are going on right now. And I'm going to get back to the Darlene Graham race in South Carolina. I put a video on that. The thing went absolutely viral. The thing has gone viral all over the place. Why? Because I'm predicting a Ralph Norman victory. We're going to try to get Ralph on Monday. And I'm likely to endorse him. And I'm going to tell you why. And I've said it again. I don't know who Darlene Graham is. I have no idea. I don't want to take a risk. I don't want to shoot in the dark. We've all been burned by these rhinos. We've been burned by Amy Coney Barrett, and the list goes on. I have no idea who this young lady is. First of all, her name isn't even Graham. So the fact that she's using her maiden name when she's married, that the whole thing stinks to me. I get the president endorsed her, that's fine, but I don't know what she stands for. And my fear is, maybe she's going to be great, maybe she's not. I'm not going to take that risk. I know what I get with Ralph Norman. I know what I get. I get a stalwart conservative. I get MAGA. I get somebody that's going to vote with us 100% of the time, that wants to cut the deficit, get out of these wars, and somebody that is going to be trusted and counted on. And you know the way he's going to vote because he's done it for 20 years and he's never wavered. And that's what I'm looking for right now. MAGA 2.0, I want courage. I want conviction. I want people that I can believe in. To me, Ralph Norman going into the U.S. Senate from South Carolina is a sure bet because I know what I got. I don't have to put my hand in the box of chocolates in the dark and wonder what the hell I'm going to pull out on a daily basis. And look, if you're MAGA out there, we've just been burned too many times. Now, this runoff is going to be, I think it's Tuesday, August 25th. So it's coming up right quick. And, hopefully I'm going to be there. I haven't gotten the details set, but I am likely to endorse Ralph Norman. I don't see why I wouldn't do that because, look, and I have nothing against Darlene. I don't know her. I have nothing against her. She might be the next Joan of Arc. I have no idea. But I know what I'm getting with Ralph Norman. And basically, the Republican is going to win in a landslide. So it makes no sense to roll the dice. For what? For what purpose? There's no upside. There's only downside. All I could do with that dice roll is lose. With Ralph Norman, I win. And if he wins the primary, now why do I think he's going to win? Because Darlene got 33% of the vote. 2/3 of Republicans voted against her. Well, you can say, Norman only got 25% of the vote. So 75% of Republicans voted against her. But he didn't get the endorsement from Trump. And there were 5 other candidates in that race. The majority of those votes are going to Norman. Ralph Norman is going to win this race. Just do the math. If you follow this stuff, you come in second place at 25% and you got the favorite well under 50, she'll never get to 50. I don't care how much money they spend. Rick Wiley's his campaign consultant. He's a good guy. I like him a lot. But look, they got, what's today? You got 11 days. There's not a lot of time, but hopefully I'll get him on Monday. Look, I want winners. Winners. I want winners. We have to win. And I'm tired of the rhinos, and we're taking the party over. Define MAGA 2.0. Let me define it for you. Courage, conviction, immovable objects, walk through the fire. One man with courage makes a majority. That's going to be MAGA 2.0. Not the John Thunes, not the Murkowskis, not the Cassidys, not the Cornyn's, not the McConnells, not the Tillises, none of them. Got to walk through the fire. If you're not willing to do that, I'm not interested. Every time I think of one of these things, the picture, the face that pops in my mind, Amy Coney Barrett. The picture of her when Trump was coming down for the State of the Union, and she was aghast at the whole thing. This is a person that we put in there. We did this. Catholics. cheering and popping champagne when she got confirmed. She's a catastrophe. We didn't know enough about her. We kind of took what other people were saying, Federalist Foundation or whatever. We were taking what they were saying. We didn't dig into it. We didn't understand. And I'm not going to get caught in that path again. Been there, done that, done with it. So we need winners. Winners. People that are going to walk through the gap. People that are going to stand in the gap for us. And if we can do that, we can win. The Republicans with no courage and no backbone that cave, sitting there sucking up the lobbyists on K Street here where I am, the whole bit, not interested. MAGA 2.0 is courage, conviction, and fortitude. Doesn't matter what they say. I want to look at what they do. I'm done talking. I want doing. It's like Godzilla wins. Less talk, more winners. Although I did have a loser last night. Texas got beat 7-0. You know what? If you're going to lose, Dan, lose. I'd rather lose 7-0 than 2-1 in 10 innings. It's like 7-0. Out. Loser. I want winners. MAGA 2.0, post-Trump. Who wants to win? Who will stand in the gap? Who will have the courage to stand up to the fake news like we do here every day? Who's going to do that? Is it Darlene, whatever her name is, Graham? I have no idea. Do you? Do you have any idea? Maybe your husband does. Maybe your children do. I don't. If I go to MGM Grand and I'm rolling the dice, or I'm betting black, or I'm taking a hit in blackjack, I got $10 on the table. So I lose, I go home. So what? I go have a drink. You lose here, you're screwed for years. Why would you take this risk? I'm not taking it. I'm for Norman, period. John Fredericks Media Network, in your heart, you know I'm right. Be right back.
From 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Solti, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
John Fredericks, America's Godzilla of Truth. He knows state politics have impact everywhere, so now he goes national at 9, hitting all the hot spots that are about to blow. Monday, it's the Pennsylvania Posse. Tuesday, get the Texas Truth. Wednesday, the Peach Crew dishes Georgia. Thursday, it's the DC Dispatch. And Friday, the Virginia Gang is in the studio. Every day at 9, John lets the spotlight shine. It's local, it's national, it's everything. The John Fredericks Show, weekday morning, 6 Eastern, 5 Central, right here.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pierce 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus, free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
Some guys might decide that it's a little too tough, or it's a little too hard, it's a little too demanding. I'll give you a little example. I got an anonymous letter from a parent. Said, we just kind of bummed out this year that the boys only get 2 weeks off before they start their summer conditioning program. Normally they get 3. Well, we gave them a week at the start of the semester rather than at the end. But here's my point, okay? It's Division I football! It's the Big 12! It ain't intramurals! You got 2 weeks after finals, you got a week at July 4th, and you got a week before camp starts. That's a month! That's probably more vacation than you guys get. And we're a little bummed out that we don't get 3 weeks?
Don't touch that dial. You've found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
Well, it's good to have you back. You know what? You can't play that Dan Hawkins clip enough for me. It's so funny. Phone lines open, 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. One of the things I want to know is what you think about South Carolina. President Trump endorsing Darlene Graham, likely to go down there, try to help her out. I don't know. I'm going to likely go the other direction because I want a sure bet. But we'll see what happens. But I want your take, 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. Let's get to the phone lines, and let's get to Leonard in Georgia. Leonard, you're live. Go ahead.
John, just ask Darlene, since you're the Godzilla radio. Get her on your radio and ask her this question for me. Leonard from Georgia wants to know, was the election in 2020 stolen? And let's see what Darlene's got to say, John.
I mean, I could ask her that. I'm just not sure right now, Leonard, in 2026, that's relevant to me. I mean, it's okay. So it was okay. I think it was. You think it was. What's that have to do with anything? I mean, I think the issue.
I just want to see how she answers it.
First of all, they're not going to come on because all they have to do is see my social media post, and they're not going to come on. I mean, these people have consultants. They're trying to get elected to the Senate. They're never going to come on. But if she did, I would ask her point blank 5 questions: war, SAVE Act, filibuster, parliamentarian, vacations. These are only things that matter now. Are you going to get rid of the filibuster? Are you going to get rid of the parliamentarian? Are you going to vote for the SAVE Act? Are you going to stop doing these vacations? Are you going to back the president? Are you going to do anything? And I got to know where she stands. I have no idea. I know where Norman stands. That's my point. And maybe Darlene, I'm telling you, maybe she would be the greatest senator in the history of MAGA politics. The problem is, Leonard, I don't know, and neither do you. And there's the risk we take for a seat that is going to be a Republican seat. So what's the point of the gamble? I mean, it just makes no sense. I mean, I gamble on baseball. I gamble on horses. You got to make strategic decisions. It doesn't make any sense what they're doing to me. And so unless somebody can give me a compelling reason why Darlene Graham is better than Ralph Norman, other than Trump endorsed her, which is, a good reason. I get it. But he's also made mistakes in endorsing people. So, and all you have to do is get back, Leonard, to my good friend, the great leader, John Thune. He's okay, whatever. Right? So I want somebody to call and tell me, as a MAGA conservative that's looking ahead. See, we got to look ahead now. Not only the midterms, but you got to look ahead. What is MAGA 2.0? Who's going to lead it? What does it stand for? And I'm telling you, it's three things: courage, conviction, and fortitude. That's it. We all believe in the same policies. But what are you going to do? Leonard, I'll give you the final word.
Well, here's what we got, John, so far. And, your questions are really good questions. And get it on anyway. Here's what the Republican Party does lately. We had a meeting yesterday in Georgia here in a little county. And here's what I basically said. Our leadership likes to punt on first down, John. They're pathetic. Like you said, they have no stomach fortitude and no spine. Let's go, baby. Let's go get some wins.
Let's just win. That's the whole thing.
Yes, sir.
I want to win, and I want people that I know are going to be there with me in the trenches. And John Thune is not. Half these people in there are not. This whole thing from the beginning was about taking over the Republican Party, a MAGA takeover. And 11 years later, since we started this movement and all the people joining Precinct 2.0 and everything we got going on, we're this close. Come seating in 27, the major rhinos in the Republican Senate are gone. We're going to have two remaining, Murkowski and Collins. Collins gets a pass. We're going to get rid of Murkowski. Oh, and John Thune. We're going to have three. 28, Murkowski's gone. 28, Thune is gone. That leaves you with Collins. It's fine. I'll take her. I'll take the one rhino. No problem. No problemo. Right? Love her to death. The others are gone. This is our party. Just like the communists are trying to take their party. But you don't do it in a cycle. It takes years, and we're almost there. Ralph Norman's part of that movement. Maybe Darlene is. I don't know. Not going to roll the dice here, dude. Just not going to do it. It would be like me going on DraftKings today and betting a baseball game, and I have no idea who the two starting pitchers are. Like, why would I do that? I mean, I got to know who's on the bump. I got to look at their record. I got to look at their last two starts to make a decision. Just say, well, I'm going to bet the Dodgers. I'm going to bet Seattle. I don't even know who's pitching. The hell would I do that for? I mean, you might as well just throw your money away. This is the same thing with Darlene. I don't know. Maybe she'll be great. So I'm not going to take anything away from the young lady. But I know what I'm getting with Ralph Norman. I know what I'm getting based on 20 years, if that makes sense. Leonard, thank you. Line 2, Joe, Charlotte, go.
Good morning, John.
Morning.
So instead of having 5 questions that you would ask Darlene, there's only one question you need to ask, and that would be, would you in any way vote to support John Thune for leadership?
Bingo.
That's the only question.
Bingo, that's it. If you ask Norman, and if I get Ralph Norman on, that's what I'm going to ask him. Because that's at the end of the day,
John,
that's all that matters. I agree with that.
Hey, John, did you see in Indiana where that 5th senator that we thought won actually lost?
I know we won 7 of 8. Is that the one you're referring to?
Yeah, where you went there for the
Yes.
week. There were five Republicans. There were 5 Republican senators, and on election night we ousted 4 of them on the primary. The 5th one, there was a recount, and he lost by 3 votes.
3 votes. Yeah, we won. There were actually 8 challenges. We won 7 of the 8.
Okay.
7 of the 8. The last one being the seat flipped by 3 votes. We've already covered that. But yes, I mean, you're going to vote against us, we're going to take action. The problem is we can't take any action against Amy Coney Barrett. We can't take action against John Thune, Murkowski, etc. And we're going to give Collins I don't know what other people are going to do. I give Collins a pass for life. Pass. Like, who cares?
Yeah. Amy Coney Barrett has set women back 100 years. There'll never be a Republican female nominated for that position again. They always turn liberal.
Look at Sandra Day O'Connor.
Just saying.
I mean, every single one of
What's that?
And people are saying, oh, she was scared, and she doesn't want a negative article on her the New York Times, and she cozies up with Roberts. She's not even an independent thinker. What a catastrophe. She's a David Souter of our time. And I still can't get over that one. So look, we've been burned, man. I'm tired of being burned. I don't want to get burned again. I mean, you just stand there. Look, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I'm too stupid for a job. That's basically my philosophy. I've already been down this path. I already got bamboozled. I already got baloneyed. I already got caught up in it. Oh, she's Catholic. Look at all these kids. And, she went to Notre Dame and she's conservative. And, she's got backbone. The Federalists, Heritage Foundation, They never dug into the lady's background. They never looked at her voting record 20 years ago. We all got caught up in Catholicism, me included. Look, first thing you got to do to get better is you got to admit a mistake. If you don't admit the mistake, you're never going to get better. That's why when I did basketball, man, you missed a film room game, I cut your ass. Because that film don't lie. You're out of position here. You're out of position there. He beat you off the dribble there. You didn't box out here. Your footwork's off there. You got crushed in the post there. You got your body the wrong way here. You don't have time for that? Get the hell off my team. If you don't know what you did wrong, you're never going to get better. And I got all sucked in to the Amy Coney Barrett Catholicism thing because I'm a devout Catholic. It's just not going to happen to me again. Got burned, man. It's like, when you're a little kid and you put your hand in the grill. You never do that again. Burn your hand, go in crying. That ain't going to happen again. So, Joe, you know what? I'm a little fired up today. And I'm fired up because we got midterms coming up. We got a shot to win. We need leadership. We need courage. We need conviction. And if we get those things, we have a shot to win. Gingrich is right. We need a contract. We need a plan. And right now we don't have one. Mike Johnson's doing the best he can. But as long as you got John Thune in there taking another 3-week vacation, what the hell's your plan, Joe? What, take time off and do nothing? Here's my plan. Do nothing. Hey, that's a good one. I'm for you. Let me go out and knock on doors, John Thune, because you have fired me up, baby. Give me the phone app, give me the cell phone app, give me the walk list. I'm pumped. I'm getting up early on Saturday. I'm walking all day because you know what? If I keep doing this and working hard, maybe, just maybe, you can get another 3-week vacation. Joe, tell me I'm wrong. Joe's gone. He knows I'm right. 888-480-JOHN. Too much. Let's get to cut one. J.D. Vance, the fraud is beyond the pale. That's why we're going to win Wisconsin. Go ahead, roll it. One, Vance.
What's the most brazen fraud scam you've seen so far?
Oh, Will, that's the toughest question I've ever been asked because so many of these things are so brazen. I mean, look, I really do think that it's hard to top the Medicaid fraud that we saw in the Minneapolis area, where you had primarily Somali immigrants who came to the country, some of whom who didn't even have children, but were billing Medicaid for services provided to autistic children. I mean, it's one thing to engage in fraud. It's one thing to lie about a disorder that your child has when they actually don't have that disorder. But it's something truly extraordinary to actually collect services for children that you don't actually have. So that's got to be at the top of my list. But, Will, I got to say, man, while it is hard sometimes to put a stop to the fraud, it's hard to prevent the money from going out the door. And, of course, once it's gone out the door, it's very hard to get the money back. Finding fraud, there's just so much of it. I mean, you asked about this Chinese marriage scheme. There were thousands of people who were actually getting paid money to like marry somebody that they had never met before so that that person could get access to American citizenship and all the benefits that come from it. There's all the Medicaid fraud. There's the food stamps fraud. There's the Small Business Administration fraud. There's this gender transition fraud. The unfortunate reality, Will, is that fraud in Washington, D.C. was as common as bad weather, and bad weather is very common in Washington. So we got a problem here. We're fixing that problem, but it's going to take us a long time to root out all this fraud because there was so much allowed to fester during the Biden administration and really beyond that.
Can you see him as the Republican nominee for president? Yes or no? Let's get to Greg in Georgia. Line 1. Greg, you're live.
Hey, good morning, John. Hey, with Murkowski, did you know that she was installed in that Senate seat after her father died in like the early 2000s?
Yes.
Okay. And then after that, she was primaried and lost the primary and then did a write-in, and she won that Senate seat by doing a write-in campaign.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yeah, so she got basically her dad, Frank Murkowski, longtime U.S. Senator, very respected in the body. He died. They appoint her daughter, kind of the same thing going on here, the nepotism. Then she turns out she's not particularly conservative. So a guy by the name of Joe Miller challenges her in a primary in Alaska. Miller cleans her clock, beats her like, this was during the Tea Party movement. So you have to go back to then, 2010 maybe, if memory serves me, 2010. Joe Miller cleaned her clock. Republican primary got like 55, 56% to 44, right? So she's out. Can't run as an independent. That's the law. So they mount a write-in campaign. You can't even spell her name. And they raise the money. They send out pencils. They do a write-in campaign. People are still feeling bad about her father. And she beats Miller and the Democrat in the general election as a write-in candidate, right? Then they know they're going to get beat again. So then they start manipulating the rules of election in Alaska to favor her. And what they went to eventually was a jungle election. Like there's not a Democrat or Republican nominee. There's a top three finishers get on the ballot. And so that ensured she couldn't get kicked off by losing a Republican primary. So she goes that route and she gets the state house, which she has power there to change the rules in order to give her the seat in perpetuity, which they've done. Now 28 comes along. She's got another challenger that is going to beat her on the Republican side. And then she's going to have to do the write-in campaign again. And this time, I believe she's going to lose. So that's the story of Murkowski. But same thing.
Yeah, I think John Thune would prefer Darlene.
Of course.
Billy Bob loves Darlene.
Of course. Darlene, of course, because he can tell her what to do. He tries to tell Ralph Norman what to do. Norman's going to tell him to shove it where the sun don't shine and vote for Rick Scott. That's what Norman's going to do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
John, last Monday, Steve Areno called in and he said some stuff about Fauci, and I tried to call in, but in that book, The Real Anthony Fauci by Bobby Kennedy, there's a chapter in there about the AIDS epidemic. And in that chapter, Kennedy lays out how under Fauci's supervision in New York, he was taking inner city orphans and he was strapping them down not him, but I mean, the hospital employees were forcibly injecting them with AZT to test it on them, and some of the kids would refuse it, and they would strap them down And I think even BBC did an article about this back in the 90s, and they actually found mass graves, or a mass grave in New York, like a Potter's Field thing, where all these kids were buried. And it's like, if that was a lie, Fauci would have taken Kennedy to court and sued him for $1 billion. And he doesn't. But I mean, that AZT, that was like remdesivir during COVID. You know how Ron Johnson says that the nurses called remdesivir "run, death is near," and there was the same thing with AZT. They're both repurposed chemotherapy drugs, and Fauci just it's like they planned it, you know.
Well, I'll go to the grave believing that the pandemic was basically a scheme in order to stop Trump from winning a second term. It's how he got all these mail-in ballots. Trump was going to win in a landslide. The economy was absolutely booming. There were no wars. Nothing bad was happening. And Trump was going to win in a Reagan-esque landslide. And so they had to do something. And so, boom, all of a sudden, we get a lockdown and the economy collapses. See, these people don't care who died, who suffered, who lost their business, who can't go to church. They don't care. This is what we're dealing with here. They don't care what happens to you. As long as they get power, dude. That is why this is a formidable opposition that I don't take lightly. And I get what Gingrich says. In order to beat these people, you got to have a united front. You got to stand for something. Why are we not going to do that? Because nobody wants to stand for anything. Just running against what they're saying is not enough to win. It's enough in Michigan. It might be enough in Minnesota, but nationwide, it's not enough. You got to go and tell people what we're going to do. And as long as Thune is going on 3-week vacations and hasn't done jackrabbit crap, it's not a sellable argument. Here's what we're going to do. Well, why aren't you doing it now? You're on vacation. Good point. I mean, what do you say to that? This guy do you understand that Thune wants to lose? It's like my party in Washington, D.C., right? The chairman wants to lose. They don't want to win. Winning causes too much problems. Losing is easy. Get your badge on. You go to conventions. You go to, football suites. You go to the hockey game. You're just a loser there that they say tag along because you're no threat. Thune is no threat to the Democrats. I mean, the whole thing to sit here with this country in the position it's in and have this guy going on a 3-week vacation, having passed nothing and done nothing. He can't even get the radio and every AM car bill out of them. The guy can't do anything. As long as he gets this filibuster, and the Democrats are going to blow it up in a New York minute. That's the problem. So you're right about that. And to Joe and Charlotte, one question. You vote for Thune or not? Yes or no? Yes or no? That's all I want to know. Yes or no? And if you had Darlene on, she wouldn't give you an answer. Ralph Norman will give you an answer. No. John Fredericks Media Network. Dave Bossy coming up at 8. Going to be co-host until 10. It's going to be fun. Stay with us.
WJFN, W224EB, 92.7 FM Chester, W299DB, 107.7 Bon Air, 100.5 FM Goochland, and WJFB.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. The Strait of Hormuz remains a perilous route for shipping.
Two tankers owned by Abu Dhabi's state-owned oil and gas company, ADNOC, were attacked Thursday evening while transiting the Strait of Hormuz, the company says. It adds that the attack caused no injuries and that the situation has been brought under control. The British military's Trade Operations Centre says two vessels were reported to have suffered mine damage while attacked by drones while transiting the strait. It didn't identify them as the ADNOC ships, but it appears to be the same incident. The UAE's foreign ministry blames the attacks on Iran, saying they were a flagrant violation of the UN's principles of freedom of navigation and were acts of piracy. I'm Charles Ledesma.
President Trump highlights his crime-fighting and public safety record during a visit today to New York Police Academy. A judge has tossed out Nevada's fake electors case.
6 Nevada Republicans were accused of submitting a bogus certificate that falsely declared Donald Trump the winner of the state's 2020 presidential election. But that case has now been dismissed. While prosecutors argued the defendants intended for their documents to be mistaken for actual electoral votes, the judge sided with those defendants. They called it an act of political theater designed to publicize their concerns about the election and preserve their rights to challenge the official results. 3 other fake elector cases in Arizona, Michigan, and Georgia also have been dismissed. I'm Ben Thomas.
Sources tell multiple media outlets that Luigi Mangione may plead guilty today in the federal case stemming from the ambush killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson on a Manhattan sidewalk in 2024. Watching Wall Street this morning, stock futures are mixed. The Dow futures are down 79 points, while the NASDAQ futures are up 41 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, I'm Kirk Cameron. Christian Healthcare Ministries is not another health insurance policy. If you're tired of year-long contracts and pointless restrictions, CHM offers anytime enrollment on your schedule and at your convenience. With CHM, you're paying half the cost of a traditional health insurance plan. So that puts more money back into your budget for everyday needs. Plus, you'll have access to CHM's care solutions for virtual appointments, prescription savings, surgery support, and more. My family and I joined in 2018, and it's changed our lives for the better. We love paying way less while helping other believers afford their medical bills. Take the leap of faith and see why Christians across the nation are better with CHM.
Get started by calling 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS for a 50% credit towards your first month. That's 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS.
Japan is dealing with record-breaking flooding. It's blamed for at least 4 deaths east of Tokyo. Heavy rains forcing people from their homes while leaving thousands stranded at a major airport.
The Japan Meteorological Agency issued its highest level warning as more than a third of Chiba's municipalities face dangerous flooding and landslides. It was downgraded 1 level as the storm subsided, but at the peak, more than 400,000 people were ordered to evacuate. Roads were submerged in water and power was cut to tens of thousands of homes. Stranded commuters spent the night in a government building. Officials warn heavy rain could continue through Friday.
The BBC's Kurumi Mori reporting from Tokyo. Record-breaking heat holding vast swaths of France and England in its grip as wildfires rage. France experiencing its driest year ever with a new fire forcing more than 500 people to flee their homes. In England, there have been evacuations as well. News and analysis, townhall.com. If you have one of those compact refrigerators, see if yours is part of this safety recall.
Kaluli has recalled about 250,000 mini fridges due to fire and burn hazards. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the recall affects certain 10-liter and 15-liter mini fridges that have an electric switch that can short circuit. Consumers are urged to stop using the recalled mini fridges immediately. The company has received at least 19 reports of the products overheating or catching fire, causing more than $80,000 in property damage. The recall covers older model mini fridges sold between January of 2019 and October of 2024. I'm Mike Hemp.
Arizona State University offering a new bachelor's degree in content creation. Critics question the value of such a degree, but proponents insist content creation is a viable career path these days. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Wagering at its finest, playing at the highest levels, under the highest stakes.
for more than a decade. This is the world Past the Wire has conquered, bringing you uncompromised thoroughbred authority and elite track data that anchors the game. But the modern wagering landscape is expanding. Every sport, every line, every prop, and every high-leverage future, we decode the metrics across the entire board. From game day spreads to the explosive new frontier of prediction markets and event contracts, we give you intelligence to dominate the modern financial exchanges. Because in the end, it's a battle. You versus the house. You versus the other players. In this arena, we fight with you. We are your ultimate edge. Welcome to the Ultimate Wagering Network. Subscribe to Past the Wire TV and turn on notifications, because when the dust settles,
nobody does it better.
What happens in Virginia doesn't stay in Virginia. It influences policy and policymakers nationwide. The VirginiaStar.com shines a light on the issues in VA that become issues for the USA, with insightful commentary that gets to the fact of the matter. The VirginiaStar.com is your source of wisdom and truth, locally, statewide, and nationally. Log on today and every day. The VirginiaStar.com. The VirginiaStar.com.
And they're off. This summer, the Thunder returns to Colonial Downs Racetrack. Live thoroughbred racing June 25th through September 7th. Feel the excitement. Hear the roar of the crowd. Experience Virginia's premier horse racing destination every Thursday through Sunday all summer long. Bring the whole family for Family Fun Sundays, packed with activities for all ages. Parking? Free. General admission? Free. Memories? Priceless. Make Colonial Downs Racetrack your new summer fun time tradition. Get tickets and race day info now at colonialdowns.com.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Trouble getting to sleep and staying asleep is infuriating. Your mind races, you toss and turn. Nutrition company Healthy Cell created REM sleep to help you quickly fall asleep, stay asleep, and sleep deep. Unlike other supplements that don't work, REM sleep is not a pill. It's a gel you swallow with ultra-absorption of science-backed ingredients supporting all 4 stages of sleep. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order. Risk-free. Love it or your money back. Guaranteed. Healthycell.com. Code Godzilla.
Ponder this. I've recently noticed that the way a person drives may have a direct correlation to their personality. I'm pretty confident that most of you have witnessed this as well. We see courteous drivers. These are people who allow others to change lanes when safety permits. Courteous drivers usually use their turn signals to gesture to others their intentions. They stop at red lights and pay attention when waiting for a red light to go green. There are other drivers who are not so courteous, even aggressive, and get defensive when others try to change lanes. These drivers tend to get angry at others to the point of road rage. What does your driving signal to others? Do you show love and kindness to fellow drivers as the Lord would want you to do? Or do you lose control and take your anger out on others? We are called to be charitable to others even when they don't extend charity to us. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's The John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man who plays to win the game, John Fredericks.
Great to have you with us today. I tell you what, you guys out there, you know, one thing you got to worry about is your level of testosterone, because you get over 40, it goes down. That's why I take Zeus every day. I love my Zeus. I take 2 of these. I take a lot of different things. That's why I'm so healthy. That's why at 68, I get up at 3:45 a.m. every day, 5 days a week. I'm ready to go Got my sports show coming up in the weekend. I get to sleep in. But why do I take my 2 Zeus every day from the Wellness Company? Because it increases your testosterone naturally. It's as simple as that, folks. And as you get older, guys, it's going to drain out. And look, I'm not a shot guy. I'll get a shot if I got to, antibiotic or something if it's really bad. But I'd rather take natural supplements. And Zeus is proven to increase my level of testosterone from being right on the edge to a comfortable spot. Now, it took, I've been on this 9 months. I got no movement, for 6 months. So it's not something you take Monday, it's there Tuesday. But over time, you're going to get there naturally, and then you're going to sustain it. And so all you got to do is go to twc.health/Godzilla, twc.health/Godzilla. It is as easy as that. And when you do that, you're going to get 10% off with code Godzilla. Now, I just ordered it. I have these on automatic order. So I just got 2 bottles with my discount code. It was $129. So these are about $60 a piece. Shipping was free. They come every couple months, right? So, for $1 a day, something like that, my testosterone is improved. I get more energy. Why wouldn't you do this? The Wellness Company's got a lot of these things figured out. And I just encourage you to go there and check it out because, you got other stuff going on and I'm busy. We're all busy. But getting that testosterone up, and even if your level is good, you want to maintain it. But it's going to give you energy. You're going to feel better, but it's going to take, it's going to take a quarter. It's not like overnight. Everybody today wants instant gratification. I play the long game. And this is why I've been so healthy. This is one of the reasons I'm so vibrant. And all you got to do is go to twc.health/Godzilla, promo code Godzilla, boom, 20% off. And, they got a bunch of vitamins on there. Like, that's where Ann gets our vitamin. Like, we take, vitamin D, vitamin E. It's just natural vitamins you get. Instead of going to GNC, we get it there. They're better. And I'm just a big believer. I mean, when you look at what I take in a day, 2 Zeus, I take lean, I take salty, I take healthy cell, I take a few vitamins. I mean, I take a lot of stuff in a day. But hey, I'm healthy. And I got a lot of energy, right? And Ann was telling me the other day, my old man is 68. I don't know where you get all this energy. I said, because I married up. Everything else is just a supplement, right? 888-480 John Dave Bossy coming in at 8. Go Terps. Phone calls 888-480 John. As I said, let's get to JD Vance here. I like JD a lot. That's all I'm going to say. I like him a lot, but in a race with Rubio, I just don't see it. But I don't know what Rubio is going to do. They're going to try to clear the field. We'll see what happens, right? But right now, I'm focused like a laser beam on 26. I just got a text here. My good friend Steve Bannon, I guess, yesterday said we were going to lose 5 seats in the Senate. I mean, everybody's got their opinion, right? Okay. Let me tell you the reality. We're not going to flip Georgia. Ossoff is going to win. Doesn't look like we're going to win North Carolina. Looks like Roy Cooper's got a pretty comfortable lead there. Doesn't mean that Whatley can't come back and win it. But right now, those are the 2 I'm going to give the Dems. Let me tell you the seats we're going to win. Sherrod Brown is not going to win Ohio. We win Ohio. That's a hold. Michigan. Mike Rogers is going to crush Alciette. He's now up by 6. That thing's over. He's going to win in a landslide. Right? So that's a pickup. So right now we're +1. No, we're even. Lose North Carolina. Ossoff's a hold for the Dems. Right? +1. No way we lose Maine. Collins is going to win Maine. So we're still even. Then you go to Texas. Ken Paxton is going to win Texas, and it's not going to be close. Okay, he'll win by 5. This whole Texas thing is manufactured by the fake news. Remember Beto? He was going to beat Cruz. It's all manufactured. This guy's a freak. Talafrico. He's not going to win Texas. Internal polls, people are telling me they're up big. Now they're putting, foot baths in DFW airport. How do you think that's gonna fly? Now, Texas, forget about it. So where are these 5 wins they're going to get? Right? Where are they? They're not in Ohio. They're not in Michigan. They're not in Maine. They're nowhere. So they win North Carolina. So what? So we win Michigan. Now we're even. I tell you where we have a shot. We have a shot in Minnesota. We have an outside shot in Minnesota. So let me just go through this again. I think I got this text from Barb. Barb said, thanks again for being real and giving us something to fight for. According to Steve Bannon, yesterday we're going to lose 5 Senate seats that were way behind in Ohio, Maine, Georgia, North Carolina, and Texas. Doom and gloom. I shut it off. Appreciate your show. So let's go through these. We're going to win Ohio. We're going to win Maine. We're going to win Texas. And now we got a shot, and we're going to win Michigan. That's a pickup. And now we got a hell of a shot in Minnesota. Now, we haven't won that seat since 2002, so it's been over almost 2.5 decades, so I get it. But Michelle Tafoya is a great candidate, and we got a shot. We got an outside shot. It's going to be a competitive race. Are we going to win Georgia? No. Are we going to win North Carolina? Unlikely. But if you just take what I said, they pick up 1, we pick up 1, they pick up North Carolina, we pick up Michigan. Hold serve everywhere. Where else, we're even. You come back in North Carolina, which has got a Republican registration edge, and now you pick up a seat. All right, so we'll see what happens. But this idea that we're going to lose 5 Senate seats is just absurd, right? The Texas thing, folks, the Texas thing is all manufactured. Fake polls, fake news, just like Ann, what's her name, telling us on Sunday in the Iowa, whatever it was, Des Moines Register, that Harris was up by 3 in Iowa. She got beat by 15. These are fake. And then she retired the next week. These are all fake, folks. These are fake. Tara Lico's not going to win Texas. I mean, stop. Okay? This is all nonsense. It's all clickbait nonsense. It's all it is. And we got a shot to win the House. And I went over the numbers. Over the numbers. I think Derek Van Orden holds that seat. We're going to get him on Monday. We got a lot of people coming on. And you got to remember all these seats that we're picking up on the gerrymander. We got 212. And this idea there's going to be some blue wave for what? Communism? It's not going to happen. Are they going to pick up a seat here or there? Sure. Well, so are we. I think, as I said the other day, Cook Political Report gives us 212. You need 218. 18 seats are in play. We need to win 6 of the 18. That's 1/3. I'll take those odds. You know what it's like? It's like you're going to the top of the 7th inning, and you got a 3-run lead. You got 3 more innings to play. I'll take the 3-run lead. I'd rather be up by 3 than down by 3. So maybe they got the heart of their order coming up the 8th inning. Okay, good. Yay, what? I got to get 3 outs. Let's go. That's it. They got to win 12. They got to win, let's see, if we got 12, they got to win 12 of the 18. I'm sorry, they have to win 13 of the 18. We only got to win 6. Don't you like those odds? Van Orden's going to win. Fitzpatrick's going to win. Bresnahan is going to win. Perry's going to win. And Kagan's is going to win. Where are they going with this? We got tough candidates. They got lousy candidates. We got great candidates. I mean, the huge edge we have is we have much better candidates. And we're much better funded. Now, do we have, we got to do mail-out ballots. We got to do all that. Hopefully there's an apparatus for that. We'll ask Joe Gruders about it when he's on today at the 9:30 hour. But this is why I'm optimistic, and the economy is bouncing back now. Let's get to Iran, right? Conflicting stories. Is it straight open? Are the ships getting through, right? Brett Baer says it's not. Trump says it is. There's no deal. Let me just be upfront here. There will be no deal. The Iranians are going to wait this out to the midterms. So there'll be no deal. So now they think that Trump's afraid to attack them because it's too close to the midterms. You start predicting what this president's going to do, good luck. What I'm for is no more announcements, no more truth socials, no more, bomb you to the Stone Age, no more Tuesday at midnight, no more they're desperate for a deal. I just want to get up one day and see we bombed everything. And now we're in Cargill, and we took their oil and gave them the New Jersey salute and blew them out of the water. That's all I want to see. And then we control it forever. Now, hopefully we're going to be able to do that. 888-480-JOHN. Line 1, Don, Virginia. Don, you're live. Go ahead, Don, you're live.
Hello, John.
Hi, Don.
I just wanted to say, can you hear me?
Yes, Don.
Yeah. Oh, I was reading, and I realize everything I read is not true, but it certainly made sense that a certain Rhino senator with his last name starts with T has taken $1.5 million from a amnesty group. Have you heard that?
Who is this? Thune?
That yes.
You know what?
And
it doesn't just
it
because
certainly makes sense to me.
Just because I haven't heard it doesn't mean it's true or false. I've just not heard it. Dan, why don't you look that up, Dan, and see if that's verified, not on X, not on Twitter, not on Facebook, but verified by a legitimate outlet, Dan. And then when you have that, break in. Go ahead, Don.
Will do. That's all I wanted to say was that it's very, very disturbing when I read that. Because it makes so much sense. There's a Rhino amnesty group of amnesty Republicans, rhinos that they want amnesty for business.
Exactly. Chamber of Commerce. Cheap labor, slave labor. That's what they want. They scour the earth for it. Why not bring them here to America? Don, the biggest unholy alliance ever made in the history of the Republic was between the Chamber of Commerce and the Democrats for open borders and amnesty. Chamber of Commerce Republicans wanted cheap labor. Democrats wanted cheap votes. It's been the unholy alliance that's gone on for 2 decades. They both have now got what they wanted until Trump came in and shut down the border. Now we got to get them out. So how do you not get them out? Amnesty. You're going to go back to Reagan. Well, we're going to do this one more time and then never again until the next time. Never again until the next time. So I'm not for amnesty. I'm for deporting everybody. Sorry that, you're mad at ICE. If you weren't here illegally, ICE wouldn't be on your ass. If you didn't break the law, a cop wouldn't be knocking on your door. Simple. Don't come here illegally and think you're going to get away with it. And then you look at these Somalis, as Vance was saying, came in, ripped off the system for millions of dollars for autism kids, didn't even have kids. These come here and rip us off. And you know what? As long as they're voting for Walsh and Omar and all the other Ellison and all the other crackpots, they all look the other way. It was basically pay to play. You can steal federal money as long as you vote for us. Tell me that's not what they did. They knew this was going on, but that's their vote base. It's like when, my bank is telling me, you need all this paperwork now. And you need the paperwork because, Kelly Loeffler got in there and tied it up because under Biden, it was basically no doc loans. They were back to that. They'd make a phone call. Hey, help this guy out. Help this gal out. Help this business out. No doc. That's how you got 10% default rates. They're just stealing the money because they're their voters and donors. I mean, this is the way they played the game. And we don't even have the balls to expose them. It's what annoys me. Dan, have you seen anything on this? Dan?
I have not. I've looked at a few sources online. The indications I get are that he is against amnesty and has been and has asked was certainly trying to confront the Biden administration about issues related to border crossings during Joe Biden's term. But yeah, I'll keep looking, but I have not been able to verify.
Well,
what Don said.
that means it's just, look, a lot of stuff you read out there, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, it's just not verified, or there's a bunch of sites out there that are not credible. So, all right, let's talk about the replacement for Caroline Leavitt, who's leaving at the end of the month. Phenomenal press secretary, really did a great job. But that whole thing's a mess. It's a zoo. They've let so many people in, so many foreign correspondents in there who are just plain rude. Tripods all over the place. You can't walk. It's becoming ridiculous. I mean, I met somebody the other day with a hard pass that they gave, was an intern. What outlet are you with? Well, no, I'm not. I do social media. You do what? I do social media posts. Okay. So now you're covering the White House and you're posting on X and Truth Social. Got it. I mean, I get letting people in, but I don't know. It's becoming a little ridiculous, the whole thing. So who's going to replace her? I have absolutely no idea. I guess if you're betting on cashier Polymarket, it would probably be somebody from Fox News. That seems to be the trend. Listen, folks, I'm going to be candid. I think Caroline Leavitt was the best ever. And second was Sarah Huckabee. Big Sarah fan. She was great. So I thought she was phenomenal as well. But Caroline was the best. Great lady. Wish her well with her children. Going back to New Hampshire, I think. Her parents are there. Grandma, grandpa, she's got the two infants. So I think it makes sense for her. But who's going to replace her? I don't know. But I tell you who I hope it's not. I hope it's somebody internally that has worked there. They have a lot of good people that were deputies. I hope they get a shot. I just hope it's not somebody from Fox News, because then it becomes ridiculous, right? Then basically you go on Fox News and now you're auditioning for press secretary of the president. I don't know. It doesn't feel good to me. I guess that's what they're going to do. I think they've replaced a couple people that way, but I'm not in favor of that. I'm not in favor of Scott Jennings, nice enough guy, but these are TV people. I mean, I would rather get somebody internal that is there in the White House, that's worked their tail off, that give them a shot, rather than pluck somebody off of Fox News or Newsmax or something else. So, but that's just me, right? Not everybody's going to have the same position that I have on that. But Caroline's going to be tough to replace, no doubt. And I have no lead on who that might be. And I hope whoever it is, what they have to do in that press briefing room is the two things I've said from the beginning. A, they need to take the seats over and reassign the seats. They got 49 seats in there. They're controlled by the White House Correspondents Association. That's a totally corrupt cabal that has no authority to do crap. They just took it, and everybody's afraid of them, except people like me, because they're a joke. And so they need to reassign those seats and put people in there that are legit. We got people in there with, left-wing, libtard outlets, audience 1,000. I mean, the whole thing's ridiculous. Then they got to clean up the aisles. No tripods, no cameras, no suitcases. I mean, you got to stand in the aisle. You can't move. They brought all these foreign journalists. They have all these tripods in. They got cameras up. It's like ridiculous. It's a zoo. And so it's uncomfortable. And it violates the rules. And the WHCA can't even enforce their own rules because they're a feckless bunch of weasels. And everybody knows how I stand on them. But this all can be fixed by the White House changing the seating assignments and doing it on a 6-month rotating basis. That's all they got to do. Take over the seating. It's the people's house. It's not the WHCA room. It's the people's room. Right? Now I'm glad I'm in there, but I've been in there a decade, and you can't even move because they're violating the rules. Their own rules that they made. So the whole thing is just a joke. But we'll see who the replacement is, but Caroline's shoes are going to be tough. She was very good, very articulate defender of the president, very pleasant. It was hard to get mad at her. She always had a smile, and she's really, really good. And she'll be remembered and go down in history as probably one of the best press secretaries ever, I think. Second only, and second there is I'm sorry, Huckabee. All right, go ahead. Let's get to the phone lines. Sorry for that. Sarah Sanders Huckabee. Okay, let's get to Scott in Virginia. Scott, go. You're live.
Good morning, John. How you doing?
Never better.
Well, I was going to recommend you to be the speaker, but you got a radio network, so you got too much on your hand. But I got one. I'm going to hang up after this, but I do have a good suggestion for one. Maybe you can bring it up later if he's on your show today. John Reed.
Not a bad idea. He needs a job. He's unemployed. He's been to D.C. That's really not a bad idea. I don't think he's got the ties, but that's not a bad idea. And he'd be good. John's very effective on his feet. I mean, anybody that's been in radio and takes calls, you got to be effective on your feet. That's right. So you get a lot of training for that. So that actually is not a bad idea. Likely they'll pluck somebody from Fox News in the Fox channel, right? Sharon Bream or somebody. Most likely. I'd like to see Rita Cosby. So I can't, I can't do it. I mean, I run a humongous radio and TV network. I mean, there's just no way that I could do it. We got all these, news, talk, sports. I got all this stuff going on. So, company has to sustain itself. But yeah, it'd be good. But I'm fine right where I'm at, right here 2 blocks away in Washington, D.C. My friends are on the John Fredericks Media Network. Great to have you with us today, TGIF. Gino Tuano coming up. Delaware. Oh, they're leaving. They're fleeing like birds. We'll see what he has to say. Chairman, Delaware Republican Party. Next, Dave Bossy live in studio, 8 to 10. Keep it right here.
And get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98. Queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pier 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus, free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Folks, this is Crime Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea. I have recently turned 77 years old. I do not take prescription drugs. I have not had to take prescription drugs, and I attribute a lot of my good health to a product that I've been taking, which is the active ingredient in Soul Tea. It's a 22% concentration of theaflavin. We did clinical trials on 25 years ago and found that it helped lower cholesterol. We have had many hundreds of letters and emails from customers telling us how it has helped them not only manage their cholesterol, but lower their triglycerides and help them on their blood pressure. And I can't tell you how much I attribute to Soul Tea for my good health at age 77. And I encourage you to go to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. And use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% off on your initial shipment of Soul Tea. And I promise you it will be a great help for your heart health. Thanks so much.
If you want to go after an athlete, one of my athletes, you go after one that doesn't do the right things. You don't downgrade him because he does everything right and may not play as well on Saturday, and you let us make that decision. That's why I don't read the newspaper, because it's garbage, and the editor that let it come out is garbage. Attacking an amateur athlete for doing everything right. And then you want to write articles about guys that don't do things right and downgrade them, the ones that do make plays. Are you kidding me? Where are we at in society today? Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
Don't touch that dial. You found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
Well, it's great to have you, and I'm back, and it's Friday, and we got Gene Tuano coming up, and he is the Republican chairman of Delaware, and it used to be the corporate haven. Everybody went there. They've lost over $3 trillion in market cap in the last 6 months. People fleeing. They're dropping like flies. Why? Because of woke stuff. It used to be the state to go. No more. Go woke. Go broke. That is the whole thing. We got Gene coming up, and we're looking forward to that. Dave Bossie going to be here 8 to 10. Got Tom Emmer 8:30. Joe Gruters, chairman, party 9:30. All right here on the John Fredericks Media Network. Couple of quick announcements. Don't forget that our Godzilla Win Show, that is on tomorrow, 9 to 11 a.m. You do not want to miss that. Even though I took it on the chin last night with Texas, I'm hot as a pepper. We got a lot going on there. So you don't want to miss Godzilla Wins, 9 to 11 a.m. on Saturday. It's got a huge following. Don't forget, 6 to 7 p.m. every single day, Monday to Friday, is Game On America Sports with Frank Zaccanelli. And I was on there, if you saw it yesterday. We went over the Big 12 football, made my picks for over-under, and I'm going to run the table on that. So if you want to go back to the tape, it's right there. Going to have a great season. Love the Big 12. Gave you my analysis. Every night, 6 to 7 p.m., boom. Game On America Sports right here on the John Fredericks Media Network. I get to go on there on Thursday, so that's always fun. Do college football, which I spend a lot of time studying and following and watching and all that good stuff. Wendy Bell Live, come to the network, 10 to noon on Monday, baby. Lace them up and lace them tight. Fasten your seatbelts, Danny. Wendy Bell's coming to the John Fredericks Media Network. Back on the radio, and we kind of got her out of the podcast business. I'm like, Wendy, podcasts are not for you. You need live radio. You need live TV. You need that energy. 10 to noon. Michael Patrick Leahy's going to be moving to 3 to 5 Eastern come Monday, August 17th. We're also in the midst of adding another station in Tennessee, just outside of Nashville, WAKM AM 950, now making its way through the FCC paperwork. We should be able to close on that. Yeah, it's a matter of public record, probably sometime in early September, first or second week. So all that good, all that happening, and all that is right here. Game On America, 6 to 7 p.m. Today, Friday, Danny, football picks. That's Football Friday. They got Frank, they got John Stetton, they've got Mike the Greek, not Jimmy the Greek, Dan, Mike the Greek, all coming up. 6 p.m. to 7 on Friday. Game On America Sports right here in the John Fredericks Media Network, across all of our network and our TV channels. It's good to have you with us. Got a TV app coming out. That's the other announcements. Might as well get them all done now. TV app coming out probably in the next week by the 17th, we think. You'll be able to download jfmn.tv. We'll have live TV programming from 6 a.m. right through 7 p.m. Monday to Friday, and most of the day on Saturday. It's all good. Let's get to my good friend, Gene Tuano. Gene is the chairman of the Republican Party of Delaware. Gene, great to have you, man.
Great to be here, John. Good to see you.
Gene, what's going on? We got there was a time when you opened up a business, Gene. The first thing you did is you incorporated in Delaware. They had that Court of Chancery, and it was all like adults and reasonable people, and things didn't get litigated. Then the DEI came. Then the woke judges came. Now they're all leaving. What's going on, Gene?
So, I can remember a time when Delaware was all red, right? Red governor, Republican governor.
Governor DuPont.
Pete DuPont, great guy. Yep. And we had a control of the House and the Senate. And just like everything else, I think when you don't pay attention, things slip away. And in Delaware's corporate capital of the world, which is what I remember, I was a corporate lawyer in the early part of my career. Everybody came to Delaware, even New York. They came to Delaware because Delaware's Court of Chancery had a consistent, level-headed, level-set decision-making process that agree or disagree. And sometimes there were, cases in favor of the shareholders, others in favor of the corporation. It was a balanced approach, and you knew what the outcome was going to be generally if you came to Delaware. And then we have, obviously, to your point, a very change in Delaware. Delaware's turning to be a small California in terms of our elected officials, as well as philosophy and governance. And, I think this was the wake-up call, right? We had 52 companies who have left Delaware, big names like Tesla and Coinbase, SpaceX. The Elon Musk suit was one that ironically got overturned by the Delaware Supreme Court because the chancellor erred in their decision. And we believe in some cases that it was more political than it was rational based on Delaware law, and clearly the Supreme Court of Delaware agreed with that. And so I think this is the red flag, right, for Delaware. We have a total of 41 House seats, and we have a total of 21 Senate seats. Today, the Democrats have 27 of those House seats, and 14 are Republicans. In the Senate, it's even worse. We have 15 Democrats and 6 Republicans. So my job is to help flip those numbers in order to bring back, I think, and again, this is what the approach, the appeal we want to have in Delaware is that, we're not saying Republicans should take over the state again overnight. We're looking at incrementally electing Republican officials who will be able to have that negotiation, that balance on policy. And in this case, the exit from Delaware is the clear example of why what we're doing today is wrong.
So, Gene, here's what's exciting about what you're doing. And I got to turn this over to Dan for a minute. Dan, while I go get Dave Bossy downstairs. What I love about what you're doing, you have a vision, you have a plan, you have a playbook, and you want to win. That's what a chairman is supposed to do. You have a vision. It's very clear. You got a playbook. You know what the strategy is, and you want to win. And that's why you're going to be successful. I'm going to go get Dave Bossy. I'm going to turn this over to Dan. And when we get back, Gene, you'll be on with me and Dave.
Okay, terrific.
Go ahead, Dan.
Gene, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You said a minute ago that obviously the state had gone in Delaware from red to blue. I was curious to get your impressions of what precipitated that change.
Again, this is I think the part that people don't understand. We talk to voters all the time. We just had our state fair, 10 days, and we had a booth, a Republican booth. We had lots of people come up to us, talk to us, Republicans, Democrats, Independents. And our voter registration numbers are in favor of Democrats. And so we struggle with getting people out to vote Republican. And when I talk to folks, I think they share our values, the Republican Party values, common sense, practical, fiscal responsibility. But when it comes to the voting booth, we seem to have people who just vote Democrat regardless, and they're not paying attention. And so my job is to help through social media, through email blasts, through communication, shows like this, to get out our message to say, hey, we're the Republican Party. We're in the minority. We want to be able to have a seat at the table to be able to discuss with Democrats the right policies for all Delawareans. And I think that's the pitch I'm trying to make is that, look, we don't want Delaware to go to the way of other states. We do not want to lose all our major corporations because of woke policies or even just a failure of having a proper education system. We are we rank 47th in the nation in Delaware in terms of grade performance, and we spend probably in the top third. So what's wrong there? Why are we spending so much money and not getting results? Just a couple examples, but I think the point is, what I'm trying to do is shake people up, wake people up, and get them out to vote. This is a very, very important election. It's a mid-year election. It's off cycle, I understand. But we've got some seats we've targeted that we think we can win and flip from Democrat to Republican so we can start to have that dialogue in Dover and we can start making common sense policies to help all Delawareans.
Now, you've been in this job, as I understand it, for about a year now, right? I mean, almost to the day.
Correct.
Correct. It's like, wow, this is almost like his anniversary appearance on the show. But
went faster than I thought.
It always does. I used to be, just side note, I used to be the president of a nonprofit organization here in Richmond, Virginia, and I served in that role for about 5 years, and I was amazed at how much time that seemed to me. Like thinking about a president being president for 8 years, like that's a long time. But what have you noticed in that year? What do you think you've learned in that year, and how are you adapting going forward in terms of how your approach to doing this role?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we started off with a plan, as John had said, and we executed on the plan. Now, some things have shifted and things have changed, so you obviously need to be pragmatic during that approach. We've raised a lot of money. We've got hired a number of people. We're doing things that the state Republican Party has not done in a long time, and that's really organizing our message, communicating, getting people out, and we're in the last phase. We've got a couple months left before the primary is in September, but the real goal is to work on the general election in November. And we're working on ballot chasing. We're working on get out the vote. And we're working at strategically identifying those voters who we think will vote Republican. And we're going to motivate them through a whole host of means that are obviously commonplace in the industry. Get text messages, communications, phone calls, door knocking, and get them out to vote. People who share the passion that we do. That Delaware's gone in the wrong direction. I think the purpose of being on the call was really to talk about Dexit, DE exit, because of just the shift in Delaware policy. I think we're a long way from Delaware not becoming, we're not maintaining the corporate haven that it is, because there's just so much strong infrastructure, and we have new smaller businesses incorporating here every day. But when the state legislator and the governor sign a bill to separate us from the accelerated tax depreciation of the big beautiful bill that's on the federal level, that allows, from a tax perspective, a new business or even any business to accelerate their depreciation the first year of investment. Huge. Our state, our governor, and our elected Democrat officials passed a bill and voted to separate Delaware from that policy, that tax policy. Well, it's just foolish, because if I'm a new small business and I'm in Delaware and I live 6 miles from the Pennsylvania line, I'm going to incorporate it in Pennsylvania. Why would I bother incorporating in Delaware? So it's these types of policies that we want to change back to common sense policies. And that's what we're trying to encourage people to vote, whether you're Republican, Democrat, or independent. These are important issues for Delaware. It's about jobs, it's about growth. It's about maintaining the presence we used to have in terms of the corporate dominance in the country.
Oh, that's absolutely true. I went to law school myself at William & Mary, not far from here in Richmond, Virginia. I think America's first law school, as a matter of fact. I'm always proud of saying that. But I took corporate law class. It was always amazing. It was like, another Delaware case. I mean, everything was in Delaware. Everything was in Delaware, and that was really, truly the hub for corporate law in this country. And crazy to think that could be changing. Well, I see that. Chris Coons is basically the senator up for re-election this fall, right?
Yes.
So any strategy to try to unseat him in particular? I mean, I think everybody across the country, he's one of those senators that regardless of where you live, if you pay any attention to politics, you know Chris Coons. So he's a familiar face.
He was closely tied to Joe Biden. Obviously, he was
Yes.
campaign manager for both his vice presidential and his presidential candidates he runs. Very engaged in the campaigns. I find it impossible to believe that he claimed that he didn't realize Joe Biden was failing in terms of mental stability. I mean, it was obviously on every time he appeared on television. You could say, anybody could say that. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on television, but I just think it was pretty obvious. And for him to just deny it, it's just foolish. And that's the one criticism I'll make of Chris Coons.
Man.
That's good. That's good. But the one comment I'll make about Chris Coons is that, he used to be more moderate, I think, and he had common sense, and now he just repeats the line, hate Trump, oppose anything that the Trump administration does. It used to be a day in Delaware, and too, in particular. I mean, Mike Hassel was the Republican, and Tom Carper was the Democrat, and you couldn't tell the difference between the two of them because they both worked to help pass legislation, both when they were governors and when they were in Congress, to really forward the interests of the people. I think we've lost that, and that's a shame. And that would be my criticism of Chris Coons. We have two primary opponents that are going neck and neck at it. We'll decide in September.
Wow, that late.
Mike Katz. Well, that was designed by the Democrats.
Of course, yeah.
Mike Katz and John Schuller are fighting it out for our nominee for the U.S. Senate seat against Chris Coons. I look forward to seeing either one of them win because I think we will have an opportunity to really at least get out our message and really bring up the stark differences between the Republican and Democratic Party. And our candidates are, very much in line with the White House and what they've been doing and the accomplishments they made. And Chris Coons opposes everything. So if you like no tax on tips, if you like no tax on overtime, if you like all the positive things the administration has done, then you should vote for the Republican, not the Democrat, because we need people in Washington who are going to continue to forward the administration's agenda.
What would you say your elevator pitch is to the average, hate to say low information voter, but just the person who's not particularly engaged? But if you have 15, 20 seconds, 30 seconds tops to say, this is the reason why you want to vote for the Republican candidates in Delaware as opposed to the Democrat candidates, what do you tell them?
So our mantra that we've kind of weaved through all our communications over the past year is one party rule. One party rule will destroy Delaware. And we are one seat away in losing a House seat from that. I think that becoming a reality. That would allow the Democrats to change our Constitution without Republican support. What we argue for is having a real dialogue to be able to discuss policy, to represent all the people of the state of Delaware. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, or otherwise, we think there should be a discussion around these issues and not just one party rule who makes all the decisions for all Delawareans. That's just not fair. It's not the way the process should work. And so we think that people should really consider voting for Republicans so that we can kind of upset the balance of the Democrat control of our House and Senate and really have a place in Delaware, once again, where we all can live freely, but also enjoy a real dialogue around the way we want to see our state go.
Well, our big guy, not that big guy, but our big guy's back. So I'll turn it back over to him. Take it away, Jam.
And thanks, Gene.
Thanks, Dan.
I'm here, Gene Tuano, chairman of the Republican Party of Delaware. I'm here with Dave Bossie. Dave Bossie, co-chair of the President Trump first campaign in 2016, deputy campaign manager, should have been chief of staff. He was my pick to be chief of staff. And now he is a long-term state committee man from the People's Republic of Maryland. And Dave, you're on live here with Gene Tuano. Gene, I love the fact that I love when I get chairman on. And of course, I'm an elected official here for the Republican Party in Washington, D.C., and our chairman has no plan, okay? You have a plan, you have a vision, you have a mission, and it's very exciting to see that. And Dave, Gene just laid out, they are one seat if they lose in the House away from one party control in Delaware. So that's Dave, a big deal.
Well, they're about to catch up to Maryland, which is one part.
And we don't want to be like Maryland,
right?
Sorry.
You know what, Gene? It's a train wreck.
Yeah.
You know, the Democrat Party, the socialists that run, and by the way, we've had in Annapolis a one party mentality for generations. It's one of the reasons that Maryland has been driven into a ditch economically, and made the state worse for our citizens to live in. That's why you see a mass exodus from the Northeast, from the Mid-Atlantic to southern states. And you see it over and over, year after year. And you have to start wondering why. The taxpayers are leaving to go to states that are much more in line culturally, economically, in order to raise their families. They want to succeed. They want to not be punished. And in Maryland and in Delaware, the elected officials choose to punish success, not reward it. And so you have the highest tax rates. You have this one-party control and mentality that goes with it, which is dangerous. Look, in Maryland, and Gene, you already know this, but in Annapolis, there was one Democrat, literally one, Bill Ferguson, the Democrat leader in the Senate, who stood in the way of redistricting when everyone else in the country was doing it. And the force that came at him on a national level was such that they had to devise a plan to go with a constitutional amendment for this November, which will, in effect, allow the Democrat Party to ram through a constitutional amendment in order to take control of redistricting and throw our one member of Congress, Andy Harris, tremendous conservative from the Eastern Shore, representing Maryland's rural districts, and he's chairman of the Congressional Freedom Caucus. He's just an incredibly effective member of Congress. They're going to get rid of him. They're going to try to get rid of him this November by just ramming it down our throats. And then as if Maryland wasn't in bad enough shape, we won't even have that member of Congress, after the 2028 election cycle. So I feel your pain. I have felt your pain for a long time. You know, Maryland, unfortunately, our location, right? Our location, which is heavily, if you don't work for it or a family member does not work for the county, the state, or the federal government, it's really hard to find. And so that's why President Trump's policies of a smaller, more efficient government, run afoul of the socialists who want permanent jobs everywhere.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. Delaware is very similar to Maryland in that regard. The reason I came on today was to talk about Delaware exit from the corporations actually leaving the state of Delaware.
Exit.
Yeah, and that's the exit. So like Maryland, we have these beautiful beaches, so people come. The problem we have is the people who are coming are from New York and New Jersey and Connecticut, two states, which then just shift our electorate to the wrong way. So my job is messaging about, we want to bring back the Delaware that I remember. So our Sussex County, our lower county is red as red can be, because it's the true old longtime Delawarean. So we have a fight ahead of us. We're looking forward to it. We want to convince as many voters to get out and vote Republican in this election cycle, execute on our plan, and hopefully we'll see some change in Dover.
Gene's got a plan. I love it. Gene,
thanks, Gene.
Just before we go, Chris Rose, Senator of West Virginia, wants to annex half of Western Maryland to West Virginia.
Wow.
Well, it would be better for Marylanders up there for sure.
Yeah.
Gene, thank you. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me on. You guys take good care and keep up the fight.
Listen, it's inspiring to get a chairman on in a blue state that actually wants to win and has a plan. Very inspiring, Gene.
We'll see you in Dallas, Gene.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
John Fredericks Media Network. Dave Bossy in the house. We're live. We're going to be right back. Tom Emmer, 8:30. Joe Gruters, 9:30. Your calls right now, 888-480-JOHN.
WJFN W224EB 92.7 FM Chester, W299DB 107.7 Bon Air, 100.5 FM Goochland, and WJFB Portsmouth.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Parts of the waterlogged Midwest are in for more rain, flooding in Ohio and Indiana, the latter under a state of emergency, according to Governor Mike Braun, speaking in hard-hit Cambridge City.
It is one of the biggest weather events we've had in Indiana, mostly due to the number of counties that it's impacted. Up in the northwest, 99-mile-an-hour winds in Gary, Indiana, Lake County, Porter, and LaPorte. It dropped a lot of rain and wind on the way down, but this part of the state, 3 or 4 counties got definitely hit the worst when it comes to rain and flood damage.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine warns people in his state not to let down their guard with the possibility of more flooding. After 10 months, an American missionary abducted and held in Niger is now a free man.
Missionary organisation SIM International says Kevin Rydat is in good health and in the care of US officials and will soon be reunited with his extended family. He was kidnapped on October 21 by 3 armed individuals. No group has claimed responsibility. Niger has faced attacks from armed groups, including those linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State. The US Embassy in the capital, Niamey, issued a security alert after Rydat's kidnapping, warning that American citizens remain at a heightened risk of kidnapping in the country, which is currently ruled by a military junta that took part in 2023, ousting Western partners and aligning with Russia. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
The man accused of fatally shooting United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson on a Manhattan sidewalk in 2024 is due in federal court today. Luigi Mangione may plead guilty to federal stalking charges. That plea could keep him from being tried on state murder charges. On Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures are down 70 points. NASDAQ futures 77 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Are you carrying more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Do you feel like you're running on a financial treadmill, making payment after payment, month after month, yet never getting ahead? If you're tired of watching your hard-earned money disappear into interest charges, there may be options available to help you take back control of your finances. At Total Financial Freedom, they'll show you what qualified consumers may be able to save through programs designed to help them resolve debt faster than making minimum payments alone. The consultation is free, confidential, and comes with absolutely no obligation. Why spend years, sometimes decades, paying thousands in interest when there may be a better path forward? Total Financial Freedom is a Christian-owned company that has helped thousands of Americans pursue financial freedom for nearly 20 years and is proudly A+ rated and accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now and ask how you can receive a complimentary copy of The Debt Dietitian. Stop running in place. Start moving toward financial freedom at 866-844-7344. 866-844-7344.
Australian lawmakers are tinkering with a groundbreaking law that bars the under-16 crowd from social media. Some changes in that law could be on the way.
Most of the data that's been published so far shows that the majority of under-16s in Australia are still on social media. In March, the Internet Safety Regulator said it was concerned that platforms weren't doing enough to uphold the ban. The government subsequently doubled the maximum fines for non-compliance to $70 million. In today's hearing, parents of young people who've died because of bullying on social media, as well as regulators, government and representatives from the platforms, are all giving evidence. Meta says a total of 750,000 accounts have been closed between Instagram and Facebook, and that they're committed to complying with the law.
The BBC's Katie Watson. Firefighters in France and central England are battling multiple fires amid record-breaking heat. News and analysis at townhall.com. Police credit a company called Flock, maintains tens of thousands of automated cameras with helping to find missing persons and violent suspects. And now Flock says it's implementing controls to address privacy concerns.
Flock says guardrails that are currently optional will become mandatory by January 1st. For example, law enforcement customers will be required to tie each search to a specific case and use an audit tool that flags abnormal behavior. This comes after a Washington Post report found dozens of instances where officers were accused of misusing the technology technology for personal searches, like tracking former girlfriends. The standard data retention window will be shortened from 30 days to 7, and customers will be allowed to decide which offenses, such as immigration enforcement, outside agencies can search their data for. I'm Jennifer King.
President Trump visits a New York police academy later today. He'll be releasing new FBI crime stats showing a decrease in violent crime last year. More on these stories, townhall.com.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cell's Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with your host, Rick Hughes, every Sunday morning on the John Fredericks Radio Network. The Flatline describes a main line of resistance in your soul, built on God's Word. Join us every Sunday morning for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, and education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes, heard here every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. on the John Fredericks Radio Network.
Every morning, your Godzilla of Truth sets the table with the day's news. Starting August 17th at 10, Wendy Bell goes live with reaction and her own fiery fabulosity.
And I want MAGA to grow a wave of red, the likes of which you've never seen.
August 17th.
You're on the cusp of a golden age.
Wendy Bell, are you ready to go? Weekdays 10 to noon. On the John Fredericks Media Network.
Everybody's talking about weight loss injections because the results are so dramatic. They work by lowering blood sugar and reducing appetite. So, what if you're looking to lose weight but not interested in painful weekly injections, especially when you hear about some of those intense side effects? That's why doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are remarkable. The ingredients studied in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it into energy, and curb your appetite and cravings, so you're not as hungry. But listen, Lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. Get started with 20% off and free rush shipping so you can add Lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan. Go to takelean.com and enter the code GODZILLA for your discount. That's discount code GODZILLA at takelean.com.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are a $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
Godzilla Wins, where you get the best insight and best information on how to win the most money ever.
Guess what? GodzillaWins.com. Let's talk more winners.
You heard the man. The all-new GodzillaWins.com is all about winners with fresh dough. GodzillaWins.com.
GodzillaWins.com. Let's talk more winners.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's The John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man who always says to lace them up and lace them tight, John Fredericks.
No, you're back on the John Fredericks Media Network, and I am your Godzilla of the Truth in America, TGIF. Well, this is a special day. I've got my good friend Dave Bossy in the house, live in studio in D.C., committeeman, Maryland, co-chair, Trump campaign 2016, the engineer that, not only that, he's a New York Times bestseller. You probably didn't know that. Let Trump be Trump. So it went to his mom. He's like, Mom, do you know I'm a New York Times bestseller, right? I mean, I'm like top of the line here. I'm an author. I'm ready to go. So Dave is with us. He's also one of the most, let me put this straight, one of the most influential and persuasive and powerful people within the Republican Party nationally. As a committeeman from Maryland, what Dave says carries a tremendous amount of weight. And also, of course, Dave was my choice for chief of staff for the first Trump administration. Had they taken my advice, and they were close, they had talked to him, things would have been a lot different.
I'm glad nobody listens to you, John. That would have been a train wreck for me.
No, it would have been great.
No. The president knows what he's doing. He does, and I appreciate the support.
Well, you would have been fabulous. But now we'll see what happens. Maybe there'll be an opportunity again after 2028. Dave, you never know. We'll see what happens. But anyway, this segment brought to you by my great friends at the vape technology. You know, President Trump got the vape vote in 2024. We worked hard on that. Those of us that vape, I used to smoke a pack and a half a day. Still got one right up there, just in case things go south. You can see it up there, Ryan. Ryan's got the same thing. In case things go bad, you got that cigarette. But vape got me off it. I'm a big fan of the Vapor Technology Association. And you got Big Tobacco is trying to wipe them out like they always do. Joe Biden did everything he could to get rid of the vapors. And Trump got a big vape vote. We just ask that the president support the vaping industry. And Big Tobacco, they've been screwing us forever, trying to get you back on the cancer stick. And President Trump, he promised to promote Americans' freedom to choose the nicotine product that they want. Big Tobacco wants to take away that freedom and give it back to the nanny state. And we don't want to do that. So for more information, go to vaportechnology.org, support the vapor, and all of the small businesses out there, all these mom and pop shops that are in the vaping industry that give us choice, support them. Go to vaportechnology.org. This message paid for and authorized by the Vapor Technology Association. Dave, it's so good to have you here. Let's get to the midterms. A lot of people are telling me that a lot of other hosts are out there, Republicans, saying that we're going to lose the Senate. We're going to lose 30 seats in the House. I just don't see either of that happening. I know we're in trouble in North Carolina. We're not going to win Georgia. But then you've got Michigan. We're going to win that. You've got Maine. There's no way this guy beats Susan Collins. You've got we actually have a shot now with Michelle Tafoya in Minnesota. Sherrod Brown, he's not going to win Ohio. Let's start with the Senate. Dave, give us your take on that. Break it down.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do that. The Democrats are in a tough spot to win back a majority in the United States Senate. We have a 53-47 majority right now, as everyone knows. If we do, and let's just do a hypothetical here, because I do believe the Michigan race is our best opportunity to pick up a seat. It is not going to be easy. It should be easy when you have a radical socialist commie with a record that he has running against an incredible candidate, Mike Rogers, who, by the way, ran a terrific race 2 years ago and came up about 30 or 40,000 votes short in a presidential election year, which turned out is much higher, much harder to win those down ballot races. In an off cycle, Mike Rogers should be able to win this seat. And if he does, it takes the Democrats to a 54-46 going into the rest of the elections cycle that evening. North Carolina is very difficult. My friend Michael Watley our friend Michael Wiley, is running a good race in North Carolina. The problem there is it's been trending against us. North Carolina has for many years, except when President Trump's on the top of the ballot, top of the ticket. This is a midterm election. North Carolina is going to be very tough. Whatley, the RNC, the Senatorial Committee, there will be no lack of attention and focus on this race. And if he can pull it off, I know he will. But it's going to be very difficult. In Ohio, Sherrod Brown leads in every single poll against John Husted. John Husted needs to become a much better, much more aggressive campaigner to turn out that base, to make sure that the base realizes that that he is a fighter for them. He is making, in my opinion, some of those simple, lack of a better word, mistakes, but they're easily corrected. And he can generate that enthusiasm. Vivek Ramaswamy at the top of the ticket running for governor is running a very good race, has a tough opponent. And the two of them together, I think, can create a turnout model that continues to put Ohio in our category. And then you get to Susan Collins. I've never been a fan of Susan Collins, except she has my undying respect for her ability to continue to win these really tough races in a very tough, deep blue state. So her ability to win is well known. She has this candidate against her, who's just a horrible person. It seems the Democrats throw him out like yesterday's news.
Well, he's another wife beater.
Absolutely. But then they pick somebody who arguably has a worse record than the guy they threw out, especially when it comes to the same types of allegations of abusing women, and that's not been fleshed out enough yet. But those stories, it's devastating. And I say Susan Collins is going to hold on to her seat. She has a way to win. She has picked that lock in Maine. We as conservatives, she is not with us on 5 out of every 10 issues, but we need her. President Trump needs her to win. That's just a fact. And so then you get to New Hampshire, where Sununu, the former member of Congress, the well-known, has 100% name ID. His brother was obviously governor. His father was governor, former chief of staff for George Bush. I think if anybody could pick the lock in New Hampshire, it's going to be a Sununu. It is going to be a tough race, but he can pull that off. It's another one that if we were to win that race, it keeps the Senate majority because that's a pickup. And so I really am looking forward to that race gelling post Labor Day. I know I'm forgetting one or two. You got Michelle Trefoil,
I think
a tremendous candidate. Look,
I mean, they're going to have to defend that seat.
They're going to have to spend a lot of money.
She's got money.
She's able to raise money. She's got a high profile, and is really, in my opinion, should run as a very moderate Republican in that state, which is a blue state, right. And she needs to be able to attract those moderate voters,
kind of like Norm Coleman.
That's right. I'm all about the math of it. I'm as conservative as they get. Some of these candidates who I want to win are not people that I would choose in a vacuum. That if we could win with anybody, but you have to win races with candidates that can win in those states. That's just the you can't win in Maine statewide with Jim Jordan. You can't have Jim Jordan, or a Mark Meadows type of a candidate run in some of these states. They just will not be able to pull it off. And so some of our candidates are very good. We've done, the Senatorial Committee, the White House, The Congressional Committee has done a very good job in candidate recruitment in a lot of these races. I think the best case scenario for us on election day is potentially losing one. I think that, look, it's hard to keep, a huge majority in the United States Senate. 53-47 is a pretty strong majority. So if we wake up after election day and it's 52-48, I'm going to be perfectly happy. But it's just going to come down to some of these really tough. We didn't get to Iowa. Iowa has changed. Iowa has, across the board, congressional races, the Senate race, race for governor, going to be very difficult. But I believe that Donald Trump's America First message still works there. It does work there. There's no question about it. And they need to find that energy and run a very tactical, very smart race there on all from congressional to the statewide. And they're going to win some of them, and because I believe we're defending 3 congressional seats there. We have the open Senate seat and the governorship. It's going to be we have a lot of work to do, but Iowa is a place that we can win. We've won it historically, but it goes back and forth depending on.
Well, it's the same with Ohio, though. I mean, I see the polls, but I mean, you look at Ohio.
You got me drinking out of a West Virginia cup.
I know I did it on purpose. I've got the Maryland cup, right?
Okay,
you got the West Virginia cup, so we're kind of even. But yes, Maryland, go Terps! Fear the turtle, baby. We're gonna have a great season. We're actually going to win 2 Big Ten games. I'm pumped.
We could talk about
I like turtles.
What was that?
What was that, Dan?
I like turtles.
I like turtles, right? I love turtles. Go Terps. But look, I don't see Sherrod Brown winning Ohio. I mean, Ohio's Republican. I mean, Trump wins it by 7.
And he got beat 2 years ago. It's the same issues as it was 2 years ago. His terrible track record is still his terrible record.
Right.
So I think that, we do have the opportunity. John Husted has to run a real.
He's got to get
campaign.
off his ass.
He does.
I mean, yeah.
Let's just be honest. He does.
And I think, look, what's hurting us, Dave, is we don't have the intensity the Democrats have. And one of the reasons we don't have it is because the Senate didn't get anything done and people are throwing their hands up. Like, what's
the frustration is real.
And now Thune went on another 3-week vacation.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically our policy now. We can't get the recess appointments. He didn't do that. They stuck with the parliamentarian. They won't get rid of the filibuster. Now they go on vacation. How do you motivate?
No Save America Act.
Nothing.
It's totally frustrating. I will say this. I hope that and we all have to work incredibly hard. And everybody who's sitting back thinking we're just going to win or it won't matter is wrong. Everybody who's listening to the show, everybody that you can touch has to turn out to vote. If we don't turn out our vote, just like we did in 2024, we are going to lose some of these races. But we have to win it. We have to keep the Senate majority. And if we do win the Senate majority, there has to be a very, very serious conversation about the leadership of the United States Senate. That's not a conversation for today. It doesn't do us much good to have a conversation and finger pointing right now. But we all have to understand and realize where we are. And I think everybody who's not in a coma understands that not passing the SAVE Act, allowing the Democrats who, if they take over, I will be arguing against throwing out the filibuster if they take over.
15
but I think that the reality is that they will do it. And so for Thune to not do it, not do the talking filibuster, use the parliamentary maneuvers that you can use and tell the parliamentarian what to do. And if you don't like their ruling, you can overrule the parliamentarian with a simple majority vote.
The other frustration is they never put the Senate in recess, so we got like 150 Trump appointees just sitting there, 200 of them sitting there in the docket. And it also affects people's lives because when
a lot of them can't make a living.
Well, because they can't do anything. Right. Now they're stuck. So they either withdraw and go back to their jobs. They can't necessarily do their jobs because it's conflictive with what they've been nominated for or what they're going to be appointed for, and they just sit there.
It's how you lose really good people.
It really is,
and the president,
it's shameful.
The president, the White House Personnel Office, Dan Scavino, that team has done such an amazing job in filling this White House, in this administration. Dan Scavino is an incredible talent. He runs that, the personnel department for the president, and has been his longest, advisor. And so to do that hard work, and then to see the Senate not act on it and not move on these is very frustrating. I can tell you. And so it happened in the first term, and it's happening again now. And when you're in charge, it just shouldn't happen. It just is something that shouldn't happen. Look, we have a lot of work to do. There's a lot that this president has done that is obviously good for America, good for every American, has tried to work every day to make Americans' lives better, to make your family, to give your family more opportunity for the future, create policies that are better for America's future, whether it is creating manufacturing jobs and blue-collar jobs here at home instead of what have we done? Presidents, Congresses by their policies, ship our jobs overseas. They've been doing it for generations. This is the first president who has said enough is enough, and we're going to take these tough positions in order to do it. Does it make him the most popular with the mainstream media? Nope. Does he care? Absolutely not. The mainstream media is a part and parcel, an arm of the Democrat Party. We all know it, and it's very frustrating. As we go and see what he does, and then the mainstream media, just makes it up.
They're in overdrive. I mean,
they're hyper,
Dave, as you know,
hyper
I've been covering this stuff forever. I'm a White House correspondent. I go to the briefings. I get to go in the Oval Office once in a while because I'm in the pool rotation. But I've never seen it like this before. This is worse than ever. I mean, the fake news, and now we got fake polls. Everything is fake.
Yeah.
And what they're in overdrive for this president to lose a midterm.
I was watching TV yesterday, and there was a channel that ran poll after poll and Senate race after Senate race, and they were using registered voters, not likely voters. I'm sorry, as a campaign guy. Okay, somebody who works in, and understands how to read polls, they're garbage. Likely voter polls are bad enough, okay, but because of the sample size and the questions and how you do it, when you're talking to registered voters, it is absolutely worthless, zero value. When you watch when you're watching TV, no matter what you're watching, you have to understand the math of what goes into it. These people, just because they're a registered voter, when you go get your driver's license, you become a registered voter.
Right.
Doesn't mean you ever vote. So there are people who are participating in these polls who don't vote. And there's a lot of them. If you look at Election Day, you see 20% turnout in primaries, 50%, 60% turnout in general elections. And therefore, when you're looking at a poll of registered voters, it's the same pool.
Right.
So you're seeing half the people that are in this poll don't go out and vote. And that's why when you see Sherrod Brown up by 3, okay, today with a registered voter poll, it's just not worth anything. It's not worth the paper it's written on.
Well, ever since Ann, whatever her name is, at the Des Moines Register put that poll out saying that Harris was up by 3 on Sunday before the Tuesday in the general, the so-called noted pollster, I can't think of her last name, and she did that. It was an online poll. It was a push poll. She fudged the numbers. They put it out there to inspire the Harris base. Trump won Iowa by 15. I mean, it was a joke. And then she retired 3 days after that. I mean, come on, man. We're not stupid.
No, this is the same story over and over, election cycle after election cycle. I've been saying this now for 10 years. They hate this president more than they love our country. It is a very dangerous thing. You see the danger this president is in on a daily basis. You see his life in danger. You see the violence in politics today. It's not by It's just not by conservatives. Even though that, and by the way, you look at the World Cup, last month, you had all these people coming to the United States from around the world. And what did they hear from the mainstream media? You saw it over and over by these people from Germany, from Europe, from Central and South America, from all over the world, Japan. It didn't matter where they came from, visiting the United States for the first time. They expected violence. They expected danger. They expected people who were rude. And what did they get? They loved it. They got the best of America. And that's who we are and what we are.
It was a beautiful thing to see all these people come in.
And the media hated it.
All they did was drink our beer and have fun, and the media hated it, right?
Hated it. They had to report positive stories.
I mean, it's like the same thing here in Washington, D.C., where I live. I mean, Dave, you come in here every day. Your office is up the street. I was there term 1 with you guys. And we now live in the safest, most beautiful, cleanest city in America.
Right.
When Ann and I came here in November, we got here in November of 2024. So Biden was still here. I couldn't take her to dinner. I wouldn't let her go out after 6 o'clock. I wouldn't let her take the metro. I mean, this place, it was squalor. It was filth. There were needles on the sidewalk. There were 70 tents in McPherson Park. People would just drop their drawers and take a dump basically in the sidewalk and walk off. I mean, the thing was disgusting. 18 months later, we're like the Disneyland of the Northeast, and nobody will acknowledge it except a handful of us that live here. Talk to the people that live here silently. They'll be like, yeah, it's really so much better, but I really can't be heard.
That's right.
It's like ridiculous why we're there. All right, we got Dave Bossie with it. We've got Tom Emmer coming up. You're on the John Fredericks Media Network. First question I'm going to ask Dave when I get back is, what about the South Carolina runoff? Put Dave on the spot on that one. Everybody knows where I stand on that. And it's not with who the president endorsed, simply because I don't know this lady from Adam's Cat. One Amy Coney Barrett for me is enough in my life. Dave and I are Catholic. Man, I got sucked into that one, baby. We're going to be right back. Dave Bossie and I. Dave Bossie in the house, in the flesh. Stay with us.
Is your inside source for the inside scoop. Manufacturing, jobs, deportations, and the nation's rejuvenation. The first 100 days and beyond. All the news you need and no liberal gibberish. It's the perfect way to start your day. Sign up for the TNN newsletter. Do it today. TrumpNationNews.com. TrumpNationNews.com. Part of the John Fredericks Media Network.
Wagering at its finest, playing at the highest levels, under the highest stakes, for more than a decade. This is the world Past the Wire has conquered, bringing you uncompromised thoroughbred authority and elite track data that anchors the game. But the modern wagering landscape is expanding. Every sport, every line, every prop, and every high leverage future, we decode the metrics across the entire board. From game day spreads to the explosive new frontier of prediction markets and event contracts, we give you intelligence to dominate the modern financial exchanges. Because in the end, it's a battle. You versus the house. You versus the other players. In this arena, we fight with you. We are your ultimate edge. Welcome to the Ultimate Wagering Network. Subscribe to Past the Wire TV and turn on notifications, because when the dust settles,
nobody does it better.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98. Queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pierce 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers, as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus, free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
After reviewing John Thune's x-rays, I can confidently confirm he has absolutely no spine. It's a medical miracle he can stand at all.
He's your Godzilla of the truth in America. No gibberish or nonsense, just common sense. And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
All right, you're back on the John Fredericks Media Network, and I am your Godzilla of the Truth in America, Dave Bossy in the house. We got Tom Emmer coming up. Thanks for being with us. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, 9 to 11, Godzilla wins. Don't forget, 6 to 7 p.m., right here on the John Fredericks Media Network, Monday to Friday, Game on Sports with Dallas Mavericks former owner, GM, and president Frank Zaccanelli. That thing is on fire. They do football today, NFL at 6 o'clock. Let's bring in the majority whip of the Republican Conference in the House of Representatives, Tom Emmer, my good friend in Minnesota. Tom, you're on with John and Dave Bossy. Tom, thanks for making time for us today.
Good morning, guys. Good to be with you.
Tom, we got a lot of politics to start, but I told Dave I'm going to go right to football. And Tom, I got to go to the Vikings. And I just want to get your analysis here. So, you have a quarterback by the name of Sam Darnold. 2 years ago, he wins 15 games. You guys don't sign him, you don't like him, whatever, and gets beaten in a playoff game. So he signs with Seattle. He brings Seattle to a Super Bowl. Stuff happens, Tom. No problem. But the reason why you didn't sign Darnold was because you had this young fella coming up, J.J. McCarthy. That was supposed to be your savior. The next big arm, the next this, next that, Michigan, this and that, right? So you had him in the wings. And, things didn't work out. He had a bad season. So then you ship in Kyler Murray from Arizona, doesn't watch any film, plays video games, all kinds of problems in the locker room, figure you need a backup. Okay, get it. And then O'Connell, your coach, names Murray the starting quarterback before the first preseason game. We're just trying to – can you explain this, Tom?
Well, clearly, Coach O'Connell has a theory about quarterbacks, John. And that theory is, doesn't matter who it is, he'll make them work in his system. And we'll see. You know that the Kyler Murray thing was kind of a Hail Mary pass. His career so far has been about as sweet as a fart in church. He just hasn't really matured into the adult human being that carries all that talent that he's got. And I'm still hopeful for J.J. McCarthy. But what does it matter what I think? I'm a fan. Coach O'Connell keeps plugging in these new guys and playing them. And you know what? When they want to hit the bank, I think the Wilfs would probably pay them, quite frankly, if Coach O'Connell said, this one's worth keeping. But he hasn't done that. And Sam Darnold, let's give Sam credit. Sam was done. I mean, his career was over. He came in. Clearly at the end of his Vikings tenure, he showed you he still was not over the difficulty of playing quarterback with both hands placed firmly around his throat. You know, the Detroit game, the playoff game in LA, he just absolutely panicked. You don't run backward and get sacked for 25-yard losses. I mean, you're a pro. But he went to Seattle with what O'Connell had given him in the Vikings, a confidence that he didn't have before. And hats off to him. He did great last year, and he won a Super Bowl. Let's hope that whatever Coach O'Connell does this year, you hear me say this all the time, David, we haven't ever talked about this sort of thing. But I say to John, this is the Vikings year, baby. This is ours.
Good.
I told you we'd get him going, didn't I?
All right, Tom. Listen, I grew up as a what were they? The purple people eaters.
Amen.
Yeah, so I love the idea of the Minnesota Vikings, but it is it'll be a tough season. Look, if we can, Tom, let's get to talking about why the Republican Party, why Republican majorities in the House and in the Senate, but more specifically for you, the House, why it matters to the American people. Tell us why. Based on the platform of the Democrat Party today, why is it that people should turn out and vote for their Republican member of Congress?
Well, it's something, Dave, that we got to do a better job at connecting with certain age groups, especially, I would argue, the 18 to 35 age group that's being sold this concept of slave states by the Mamdamis and the El Sayads and Peggy Flanagan now in my state. Why do you want to vote Republican? I give you the main reason. It's because we offer the policies that we offer will give you the best opportunity to achieve your personal best. The idea, it's almost going back to a time when we were young, when Ronald Reagan pointed out, if you want to take the only thing that government will give you, if you want to take what Mamdani wants to give you, which is a 12 by 12 room and a ration of food every day and enough electricity to keep you warm, maybe during the winter, assuming he can actually keep the energy flowing. If you want to take what little he is able to provide you, go ahead. We're Republicans. We're not going to tell you you can't do that. But if you want to achieve that shining city on the hill, if you want to be able to chase your greatest dreams and actually have a chance to reach them, you got to come with Republicans. And we're going to have to do a much better job in the next couple months, 80 plus days. We're going to have to do a much better job explaining what is actually going on in our economy. We are not doing a good job. I was with Michael Ruley in Cleveland, actually Toledo, a week and a half ago. Michael Ruley and his brothers own grocery stores, David, in Ohio. He was, when I said people don't want to talk about the good news in our economy, they just want to talk about the gas prices. I get it. That's what Democrats have. They don't even have a platform other than men playing in women's sports, other than abortion on demand, trans, they call it gender affirming. It's mutilation. But those are the things that they are promoting. On our side, we got to be talking about, like Michael said, nobody wants to talk about 78-cent eggs in his grocery stores. Nobody wants to talk about ground beef under $2 a pound. We need to do a much better job, and we got to start pointing out wages. Wages are going up. Wages are going up under a Republican Congress and a Republican president. That has not happened. Get ready. It's just beginning. Republicans got to do a much better job at talking about that. And then we're going to have to show the contrast, right? You got to show that what they're talking about, communism, Marxism. I think somebody pointed it out to me very well. Stop calling it socialism. These guys want to create slave states.
That's right.
Ayn Rand said it in 1962. Communism and socialism are the same, have the same goal. It is to control human beings, to enslave human beings. One does it at the ballot box, and one does it through muscle.
Tom, it's really remarkable to me that when you and I were younger, and you used the word in politics, socialist or socialism, you were branded as reckless and irresponsible because they said, "Oh, you're just being shrill and you're just throwing these words out that don't mean anything." Okay. And today, the Democrat Party has blown way past socialism to embrace communism. This Mondami in New York is destroying that city. The people in New York know it already, even though the bill hasn't come due yet, which it's going to. But if you look at El Sayed in his race, it is going to. We must have our candidates talk about the disparity in the differences between these candidates because the American people are going to lock in. They know. I think the American people in their hearts, if the Democrats take over the House, which we have to hope and pray and work very hard that they do not, but it is impeachment 101 again of this president. Do you agree with that?
I do. It won't go anywhere because I don't see the Senate flipping, even with the complete swing and miss over the last year and a half. But you're right, David. Everything we've been accomplishing stops.
That's right. It grinds to a halt.
Yep.
So let's talk about a few key, if it's okay. I'd like you to just tell me, I picked a few races to go over with you this morning because these, and all of these folks are my friends and I'm supporting them and I want them all to win. And I think they will, but I think you describing a little bit about their districts, because I went regionally and I'm going to lead with the great Mike Lawler. How does he pick that lock again and win that House seat and keep it in Republican hands?
Well, Mike Lawler, as you know, David, is a complete political mercenary. I mean, I've met two people in my political career that literally sat down with me and said, this is how I'm going to win my race. One was a state representative. That was 40,000 people. The other one was a guy by the name of Mike Lawler in the Hudson Valley that literally has 700,000 plus people. And he showed me exactly through his district what he needed to do, where he needed to maximize, where he needed to minimize. I watched on his first election night with my wife, and I turned to her and I said, I'll be damned. Look at this. He did exactly what he was talking about doing. How does he do it? Well, he's got a D+1. I think Kamala won his district by 1 or 2 points.
That's right.
His district is very swingy, very in the middle. It will depend on the representative. Everybody thinks that it's the outside, it'll be the war, it'll be this and that. Yes, those have an impact. But keep in mind, I've taken this position over more than a decade of doing this, almost 2. We are 435 members. Each member has a unique piece of geography. And within that unique piece of geography, it has its own demographics. They are all different. We do not set any longer. There will never be, in my opinion, the contract with America again. Communication has changed. The House doesn't drive the message. Instead, we need candidates like Mike Lawler who look and sound and fit their district. We need candidates who understand their district. What are the issues, the 1, 2, 3 issues that engage your voters, motivate your voters to get up off the couch and come out and cast a ballot for you? And then they just have to have enough money. They do not have to have the boatloads of cash that these Democrat slave owners, wannabe slave owners, literally burn in the streets every campaign. You just got to have enough money to get that message out. And what Mike Lawler does is he talks to everyone in his district. He represents everyone. It is not Republican, Democrat, other. It is Americans in his district. Yes, he takes on a Democrat, which is actually kind of humorous to me because the Democrat is still playing by the rules that I'm a Democrat and I'm going to sell just Democrat, whatever, where Mike Lawler is saying, I'm your representative. I represent you. I work for you. Yeah. And what he's sincere. The other thing is, and I'll stop. When you sit down with Mike Lawler, he actually cares. You know that it's not a show. He cares.
Passionate. He's a passionate believer and a defender of his district, whether it's something that you and I agree with him on or not. And that's what makes him a little bit different. There's a lot of members of Congress, and I know every member of Congress thinks they think they're the smartest. They got elected, and they think they could learn. There's a lot of guys, a lot of men and women that could learn a little something from how Mike Lawler goes about his business in his district. not like you said, not every district is the same by far, but you can disagree with him, but he's likable.
Yep.
And that's, it's really goes a long way. Let's go to another great friend of ours, and that's Scott Perry in Pennsylvania. He's just had a tough race every single time, scratches, claws, and wins every single time. What do you think about Pennsylvania, where it's going, that trend, and how he picks that lock again?
Well, I think Scott can. There's no question. But you've just now compared apples and oranges, I think. Why? Because first, the two personalities are different. Mike has a way of drawing you in, kind of like a Pope Francis. Our friend Scott Perry, who I'm a huge fan of, Scott is more like Pope Benedict. He's going to tell you this is what you got to do, and if you don't, you're going to burn in hell. The reason Scott Perry gets elected, in my humble opinion, is because he works his tail off. He is always who Scott Perry says he was going to be. He tells you what he's going to do, and then he does it. So people, whether they agree with him or not, they vote for him because they know that Scott Perry is going to be honest as long as the day lasts. Scott Perry is going to be straight with you, and he's going to do exactly what he says he's going to do. That being said, he's got a tough race. Unlike New York, and this is the apples and oranges as well, New York's got Bruce Blakeman running. Bruce Blakeman may be able to recreate some of that spark that Lee Zeldin created just a few years ago, because you got Kathy Hochul, who is so god awful on the other side, and you got this Mamdani thing happening in New York City. We don't have that in Pennsylvania. Josh Shapiro is a very popular Democrat governor. You've got some issues going on with Fetterman, and the Democrat base is very revved up about the fact that he's not been their radical left-wing nutbag that they thought they were electing. That is going to be a headwind that Scott is going to have to fight very hard, and we're going to have to help him fight very hard. Plus, the gal he's running against, they don't typically get better the second time. But this gal is a communication pro. You can't underestimate her.
That's right.
So we're going to have to work really hard with Scott. I have no doubt, though, he will too. That's just a different environment than what you're going to get in New York, I think.
I couldn't agree more. In Pennsylvania, look, those areas that Scott Perry and other Republicans in Pennsylvania, in the Central Valley area, all that central Pennsylvania, they have a tough job to do here, but they're going to pull these out. I really think you're right about the governor in the state at the top of the ticket being very popular, but I do think that this is going to translate down to those members, and we're going to be able to pull it out. Let's go to Alaska and Nick Begich. I mean, that's and talk about how ranked choice voting is going to impact that race.
Well, I think this time Nick Begich is the one that's going to be dragging the cart with Sullivan and others behind him. Look, Begich is one of my favorites. Neither you nor John probably know that I'm a graduate of the University of Alaska in Fairbanks. So I have some history in the 49th state. And Nick, when he ran the first time, there was some bad blood. The Begich name has been known in Alaska since the 70s, if not before, when his uncle, his namesake, died in a plane crash. He ran the first time, and Sarah Palin jumped into the race, and she and Nick, let's just say they aren't exactly close friends, and neither one would drop out, right? It's kind of the situation you just saw in Tom Barrett's race up in Michigan 7, where you had the communist, wannabe plantation. Well, I better not go there. You got the communist that's running with the two so-called reasonable candidates. Neither one of them would drop out, right? And so the communist ends up winning. When Nick ran the first time, Sarah refused to drop out. They split the Republican vote, and they ultimately elected a Democrat. The second time, her reelection, the Democrats' reelection, they did the same thing. They fought again, split the vote. The last time, Sarah has moved on, and Nick obviously was elected. Now Nick has a record. That's why I say when you look at Nick Begich, I've watched him. He is brilliant. The guy's a technical guy, and not just in his private life, right, where he was in the technology business, but in his campaigning. I mean, he is a different form of Mike Lawler in terms of how he identifies his voter. And think about Alaska is such a vast state, and it's got less than 1,000 people, less than 1 million people in it. I think there's somewhere around 800 to 900,000 people, and they're spread all over the state. So Nick has a very interesting process. He's a statewide candidate. And now look, Lisa Murkowski, that everybody gets frustrated with on the in the Republican base. Lisa's carved out this kind of, she's a renegade. She's her own brand. People have to just get over it and recognize that this is what she has created over years. Nick Begich is something completely different. He is actually creating a long-term type vision for his leadership. And I think he's going to help Dan Sullivan. I think he's going to help pull that Senate seat across.
I certainly hope, and I agree with all of that. Murkowski, she is a frustrating person to the conservative base, obviously to us across the country. But we all knew what we were getting. Her father, who had that Senate seat for decades, was the same way. Very independent-minded, and really cut his own path. And she's kind of taken that to another level, but she gets it honestly. To be candid with you, and I think we all knew what we were getting. But look, hopefully there's going to be and I think we're all working towards that Republican majority in the Senate, and she'll be a part of that to help get President Trump's agenda to move forward. Let's just talk about one or two others, if you don't mind, and that is Zach Nunn in Iowa, and I'll just give you both, Jay Feely in Arizona, both fantastic candidates, but in different parts of the country with different issues at play.
Yeah, it's well, in the order you gave them to me. Zach Nunn, Iowa right now is a kind of a difficult envilement.
Really
whether you're Zach Nunn, whether you're Joe Mitchell, who's running in the Ashley Hinson seat as she runs for Senate, whether you're Marionette Miller Meeks, who's down by Iowa State, it's a tough environment. But you look at somebody like Zach Nunn. This is what I was talking about before. You need candidates and incumbents who look and sound like the districts that they're representing. Zach Nunn is an Iowan. Zach Nunn is a military hero. He's a warrior. He is if you were going to do a paper cutout of the typical congressman that you would want representing you, it would be of Zach Nunn, right? I mean, the guy is a good-looking, got a great family, and he's an Iowan, and he's on the ground. I think he's going to have a tough race. He's got part of Des Moines, as you know, and that's a unique fight. But that's the same thing that the Mitchell's going to fight. And I think Ashley Hinson, Dave, if I'm going to play the Minnesotan, we in Iowa have jokes going back all the time. In fact, David Young, the former representative, once asked me if I knew why all the trees in northern Iowa lean to the north. And when I told him no, he said, because Minnesota sucks. Okay. Well, the Ashley Hinson, I think, is going to be a pull. I think she's going to pull these guys over the top. I think the governor's race, with Randy Feenstra not the guy, I think that's going to be a difficult race, and that is the thing that gives me some pause, right? Plus, Democrats did a really dirty thing in this thing. I don't know that it's been finally proven, but I think ultimately it will be proven that they sponsored libertarians to get on the ballot in these races to try and siphon away some votes away from Republican voters. I mean, just look at Ohio 9 last time, where we had Derek Marin, who's running again against Marcy Kaptur, the 30-year veteran. Last time, Derek Marin won that race. That's a Trump plus 10.6. He won that race. If you take the libertarian out, who took 3 to 4 points, Derek Marin would already be the congressman. So Iowa is going to be a battle. Zach Nunn's the right guy at the right time in the right place. We're going to make sure that he gets over the line. And then Jay Feely in Arizona 1. That's David Schweikert's seat, and David Schweikert has been an amazing representative. I mean, this guy writes code, and he's just brilliant. Sometimes I joke with him that he talks in code too, because when he starts speaking, you just kind of glaze over. It's like, David, I got to try and understand where you're going. I say that because David, much like the description of Scott that I gave you earlier, he has one direction, and it has worked for him. He has regularly gotten over the line by 1, 2, maybe 3 points, and he's been great. So this is not any criticism on him, but I would suggest that Jay Feely actually fits this district better than anybody else we could have recruited. Jay Feely did not want to run necessarily. Donald Trump convinced him to do this. I'm glad he's running because Maricopa County, Maricopa County, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's like the 11th wealthiest county in America. These are Republican voters. Jay Feely is a guy that when you sit down with him, he's got that pro football resume, all the rest of it, but he's a lot more than a football player. You start talking to this guy and you realize he was built for this time. He was built for this moment. I think he gets elected this fall, Dave. I think he helps the other candidates, like, for instance, Andy Biggs, who's running for governor in Arizona. These people who like to say, well, this guy can never win and that girl is the only one who can win, they are so full of it. I mean, it's got nothing to do with that. Elections are emotional experiences. And it just depends on where the emotions are when you hit those final days as to where this thing's going to end up. And I think a guy like Jay Feely is going to be a candidate that people in Arizona's 1st district look at and go, I identify with that guy. I relate to that guy. That's a good guy. I'm going to show up. I'm going to support Jay Feely. And by the way, while I'm doing it, I'm going to support Republicans up and down the ballot. So I love the fact that he's running.
He's a tremendous candidate. I've gotten to know him a little bit and over the last few years, and he would show up in the darndest places that I didn't expect him to, not because he was running for Congress. This is long before he ran for Congress. And I just thought, what an interesting and again, very likable guy. And so I hope he wins. I think he will. I'm definitely supporting him. If we could just, could you just tell us how, as somebody who's really looking at the map nationally and looking at these Florida races, which we haven't talked about, are you looking at the redistricting? How does the Calais case, how does redistricting post-Calais, how does that impact us? And how do we keep the House on Election Day, and what does it look like afterwards?
Well, first off, the map redistricting, I think there's 20 plus Democrats who sit in seats now that Donald Trump won in the last election.
That's right.
There are only 9 Republicans who sit in seats that Democrats won. And David, 4 of those are in California. Very disappointing, but it is a fact. Do you lose all 4 of those in California? I don't know that you do. Something's going on in California, but we should not be counting on something that is not a sure thing. So I don't know that you lose all of those, but just start with the 21, 22 versus 9. All right. Then look at what David Wasserman at Cook said a couple weeks ago or tweeted out. In order for the House to flip, the House Democrats are going to have to flip 57 of 77 seats in the House that go plus or minus 5. I mean, that is a huge, tall order. If you look at the country, I'd guarantee you 2 right away. I'd guarantee you the seat in Maine that Jared Golden is retiring from, that Paul LePage is running it. 76-year-old Paul LePage, former two-term governor of Maine. God bless him. He's decided to come out of retirement.
That's right.
The guy is a horse.
Yeah.
He announced he's running, and Jared Golden, who is probably the best incumbent the Democrat House had, announces he's not seeking re-election because his party has gone too far to the wackadoodle left. I got news for you. They were already there. He's a smart politician. He saw the LePage train coming, and he got off the tracks. You're going to win that one. you're going to win Missouri 5. Missouri 5 is the Emanuel Cleaver seat, right? This is the seat through redistricting that has been changed. It is now a Trump plus 18. Rick Bratton just won that primary a week or two ago. Rick Bratton is coming to Congress. I would guarantee you those two. And after that, you got to look at New York. Like I said, if Blakeman is running a great race, you better watch that closely because he represents Nassau County. He's the highest elected official in Nassau County, about 2 million people. Last election without Trump on the ballot, he was reelected by 9 points, all right, in a traditionally, we're told, Democrat part of Long Island. I want you to think about this. Why is it important to you and me? All of New York's 4th district and 3/4 of New York's 3rd district are in Nassau County. If he is rolling, you could pick up one or both of those. And we've got great candidates in both. In fact, Mike LePetri in the 3rd is a second-time candidate. Nobody helped him last time because nobody saw that seat as winnable. He came within 3 points last time. And the generic right now in the 3rd, I'm told, is R+1, and Sawazi's got some challenges. You also got a shot up in New York 22, which is up by Albany. This has a state senator, Peter Oberacher, running. This is the old Molinaro seat. Josh Riley is not the fastest moving turtle on the beach. He's going to have to work really hard if he's going to hold that seat if Blakeman's running a good race. From there, you go to Ohio. You've got a couple seats in Ohio, the Toledo seat, the Cincinnati seat. They're both Trump's. One's a 10.6 Trump. The other one's a 2.6. I left out North Carolina's 1st district, which is a rematch between Lori Buckout and Don Davis. I never guarantee when you got a long-time incumbent in a seat because there's a reason why they've managed to survive for years because they're good at what they do. But this is now a Trump plus 10 seat. That might be too steep a ladder for Don Davis to climb against Lori Buckout. You drop down. I gave you Missouri. You drop down to Texas. You got 5 seats in Texas. I mean, I've been talking to Texans all week. What's the feeling on the ground? They're definitely concerned about the Senate race. Not that that Ken Paxton's going to lose. They're not worried about that, but they're worried about the energy because Republicans are divided. They got to come back together because you can't let Tallarico get any kind of draft because it's going to affect the House races, right? But you could pick up 5 there. You got a seat in New Mexico. New Mexico 2, where Greg Cunningham, a law enforcement guy, a sheriff, is running against Gabe Vasquez, the incumbent, who literally is a criminal. He's got a rap sheet. So I like that contrast. And then you got Washington 3. Washington 3 is Marie Gluskamp Perez. This was Jamie Herrera Butler. Joe Kent beat her in a primary a couple years back. And then Joe Kent could never win the general election. He ran twice. Guess what? John Braun, the Senate minority leader, is running in that seat. John Braun, I think, is going to walk away with it. I think he's going to win Washington 3. And I'll throw you out one last one. In Minnesota, there's a seat that's not on the map in my district, Angie Craig's seat. There's a guy named Eric Pratt who's a state senator. He's not too hot, not too cold, smart guy, former linebacker for the University of Colorado. This guy's been around for a while. The Democrats nominated an absolute communist to replace Angie Craig. I don't know. I mean, that could put a seat like that on the map. And there are others, right? There are others that you can look at around the country. I talked about the Tom Barrett seat. He was Michiganders did him a big favor by putting that Lawrence guy on the ballot. So other than that, David, I don't know much.
Yeah, well, that was an incredible rundown. Let me just say, I'm a believer that the Calais case, that Louisiana did our party and our nation an incredible service by bringing that case and then winning it at the United States Supreme Court, and then obviously picking up some of these seats as we are seeing in Florida, which their primary is coming. We're going to see some great candidates come out of those primaries. Picking up a seat in Alabama, in Louisiana.
I was going to say, I left those out. Alabama, Tennessee. Yeah.
It gives us the opportunity in such a tight Congress. Obviously, you guys, I mean, what you and Mike Johnson and Steve Scalise have done, the successes that you have had in legislatively, in passing things with a 1 seat, some days 1 seat, 2 seat majority in the House of Representatives. When you look across the hill and the Senate isn't delivering the same results, which with a much greater majority, even though it's a tougher group of people to deal with, they should be able to get, if they could do, if their leadership could do what our leadership is doing in the House side, we would have had, in my opinion, a lot more accomplished. And that's what the people are frustrated at. And that's really, to be honest with you, Tom, I think one of the things we're seeing in the polling is the lack of enthusiasm amongst Republicans, because they don't see some of those things that they voted for in 2016 and the elections ever since. And I think there's some frustration. We have to tell them and be honest with our base and say things are going to change and be different in the next Congress. We've done our best. And with these slim majorities in the House and Senate, you can't just do whatever you want. And we all understand it. I think the American people, the base understands that. But I do see that in the polling, and we have to energize our base. And that's what messaging are you bringing to make sure that our base turns out, because in some of these races that you're talking about, it's going to be the difference, right? Like winning and losing the general election is going to be whether our base turns out or not.
Yeah, well, it's mostly Republicans got to, and I say this to our members, David, so I hope it's not taken wrong by you and John and the listeners. Republicans got to get over themselves, right? We have these battles. Somebody wins, somebody loses. And then we have this thing where, well, I'm not going to participate now. Well, look, the other side is playing for keeps.
That's right.
And when we're talking about playing for keeps, they don't care if their candidate is fantasizing murder of his opponent and his opponent's family. They don't care if the other side is preaching, we hate America and we need to get rid of Thanksgiving. American football is toxic masculinity. They don't care. Even David Axelrod, who I think is like a brilliant tactician, David Axelrod is like, well, El Sayed is, he's going to be good. Really, David? He really matches the template that you were looking for in the Democrat Party? No, he doesn't.
Right.
And this is the issue. For Republicans, we got to get over it. When Ken Paxton wins his primary, understand there's people that are very frustrated and upset. Okay, do you really want a Tallarico representing? More importantly, do you want to make it so that you don't pick up all 5 House seats that you have a chance to pick up in Texas? Get over yourself. Get out to vote, and then it's up to us. I told you at the very beginning when we started talking about this, we got to do a better job of attaching our policy wins to people's lives. I've been saying this now for a while.
That's the message right there, Tom.
Rather than criticizing, let's go back to Romney. Romney's running, and you'll remember he was caught on tape at a fundraiser saying, how can you win a national election when 48% or whatever it was of the American public is getting something from government? Well, that was a mistake, I would respectfully say to Mitt. The answer should have been that 48%. It's like I started with. You can take that if that's all you want. Come with the Republican Party, and we're going to show you how you can achieve your greatest dreams. This is what we have lost, right? We got to start going back to talking, and especially to 18 to 35-year-old kids. We got to start to recognize, regardless of our party affiliation, anybody with an election certificate had better start to acknowledge that if you're 18 to 35, you have more bills than any generation that has come before you, because you have things that we never contemplated: a cell phone, streaming services, all your college courses that you're getting ripped off on to be inculcated to the left, which is a different topic. But you see where I'm going. We've got to be able to attach this stuff so they know.
Yeah, we have to be very positive. Look, as a conservative movement guy, I get frustrated with, you got to vote for the. I don't see a good outcome when in elections where we say, basically hold your nose and go vote for the Republican, which we don't do. And we all don't think alike like the Democrats. Your articulation of what the Democrat Party stands for, their socialism, communist, monolithic view of the world. They stand for together at every point. But we have to explain to people what you just were talking about: hope, growth, and opportunity. The Reagan ideal that America's best days are ahead of it, not behind it. And that is what the America First agenda of Donald Trump is all about. And so we have to articulate why we are better, why we give the American people, that voter, an opportunity. Because what you were just saying is if that's all you want, you just want that government handout, that government check, you want socialism. We're never going to win that vote. I would submit. But
we shouldn't try.
What's that?
We should not try to be better than they are with that argument. You got to tell people why that argument's bad and why they want to come with us. Nobody can say it better than you are right now, David. You're saying it exactly right. That's what the America First movement is all about.
That's right. That's right. And look, you say President, and I go one step further, which is President Trump, if he had more support in Washington, D.C., if he had a greater majority in the House and in the Senate, if you think you're frustrated as a voter, there's no person more frustrated with where we are today than Donald Trump. Donald John Trump is as frustrated as can be because he doesn't get the things that the American people voted for in 2016, 2020, and in 2024. They're not getting that because of the rigidity, because of the logjam that is Washington, D.C. The greater the majority, even if they don't all agree with us. Look, as I said earlier, like, Murkowski's and Collinses of the world, they're not our flavor, okay? But we need them. There needs to be if we're going to be in the majority, we need them. And so, but we also need the Ted Cruzes of the world and the Mike Lees of the world and the Jim Jordans and the Tom Emmers of the world, so that we can have Donald Trump's vision be put forth legislatively, and we can win those legislative victories that we get sent here to do.
I don't think anybody could say that better. You're spot on. The only thing that I get fired up, and John knows this probably, while you're talking about the Senate, I mean, I understand the president's frustration too, because he's right about what he's saying. When you talk about election integrity, talk about my state. I mean, this is it's pathetic that our Secretary of State refuses to provide voter information that has been requested by the federal government. He says there's nothing wrong with our elections, and if that's the case, why wouldn't you just turn over all the documentation? No, he won't do it. This is what Donald Trump is talking about, and his frustration stems from the fact that we pass it in the House over and over, the Save America Act.
That's right.
It goes over to the Senate. I mean, just like the Clarity Act on the digital asset stuff, with almost 100 Democrats voting on it a year ago, it goes over the Senate. It doesn't move. And why? Why do we get things done in the House versus why do things die over in the Senate? I'm going to argue to you, David, it's because people are forced to put their vote up on the board.
That's right.
There is a moment of reckoning that comes when you say, all right, now you want to vote against what the American people want? Do it. And then you can explain to them why you are a no. It goes over to the Senate, and I would argue, being a house animal, and I always want to be a house animal, this is where the real fights take place. That air is a little too rarefied for me. It goes over there, and I've said, you are not a Republican, you are not a Democrat, you are a senator. What happens over there is the filibuster and the parliamentarian are used by both sides to avoid putting a vote on the board. You need to put that vote on the board. You need to put everyone in a place. And you heard them last week. They didn't want to vote on the Save America Act because they didn't want to put some of their members in a place where they might have to take a bad vote. Well, what's the bad vote? So instead, they passed a voter ID thing that had already passed before. Here's why I believe our people get so frustrated. They're tired of being BS'd. They're tired of people telling them that what you see is not really what's happening. The American people are so much smarter than the left-wing media, the political elite, all the garbage that they spew. Like, let's make it very clear, this is Democrats who are doing this. Really? You can overrule the parliamentarian with a vote of 50 senators plus one.
That's right.
There is plenty of precedent for it. It's not an unusual thing. That damn thing should have been done months ago. And I don't got a problem with anybody, Republican, that says, well, I'm not comfortable with it. Okay, great. What are you not comfortable with? And what do you want us to adjust so that we can get this thing done? Because it's imperative that it gets done. And we just aren't getting that.
Pared back. You're exactly right. And look, the House pared back the Save America Act to a couple of key issues. And even that, even though there were forget Republicans, there were Democrats who had agreed with voter identification, with voter registration issues that were in the final Save America Act that came out of the House. And why we couldn't get a vote is beyond me. I know Mike Lee has just been, everybody in the Senate, not everybody in the Senate leadership gets upset with a guy like Mike Lee because he doesn't take no for an answer. He is a fighter for the Save America Act. There's no greater voice in the Senate than Mike Lee on the Save America Act. And he said, and I've worked with him on this, the talking filibuster, make the Democrats put up or shut up. There are ways in order to do it. And you just have to have the leadership that's willing to do it. And look, there's lots of arguments, for and against everything, but the Save America Act is exactly that. And we really need it. And we needed it for this election cycle because I think that's where we could have, it could be the difference in some of these very close House elections. And so post-election, it's going to be very interesting to see what difference it might have made.
David, I have a question on that topic. Did you ever wonder why, when it comes to Democrat primaries, they're actually able to tell you what the result is that night, as opposed to when it's a
Isn't it interesting?
Election?
Isn't it interesting? There was a piece of video that went around a few days ago about the primaries on Tuesday night. They couldn't understand why there were problems in the vote count, and it was on NBC that I guess the analysts were having a little bit of trouble understanding why these late vote counts were coming in. They just couldn't quite grasp what the arguments that we've been making for years. And so I think, but we have to get away from, 2 months of early voting, a month of early voting, absentee ballots, mail-in voting. It should just get back to election day.
Yeah, too much opportunity for fraud.
It really is, and it makes it much more important. And I think we saw in past elections, just in recent past, where people are already voting, and some major development happens, like a debate, like Joe Biden virtually falling down and. During a debate, and some of these Senate races having major, and House races having major incidents happen that would change your vote, but people have already voted, and so it is. I'm a believer in election day. I'm a believer in paper ballots. Just like the president, that I think that we've gotten away from it. It doesn't make America better. It doesn't make our elections safer. So why are we doing it? And I think we all know the answer.
I think we do. This is that same argument. When I say that 80% of America agrees with you and I on this issue, right? And that's Republicans, Democrats, and others. They all agree that it makes sense that you have to be a citizen to vote. So you should actually establish that. And there's really nothing wrong with having to produce some identification to show you're the person. So what you just said, what's the problem?
Tom, look, Dave, one second. Just for our audience that just joined us, we're in an extended segment. I'm John Fredericks. We're the David Bossies in the house, and David is the committee man from Maryland, and we're with Majority Whip Tom Emmer. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I just want to point out, Tom, the humor, the hypocrisy of, Mondami doesn't support voter identification, but you have to show an ID to go buy a half a gallon of milk
or
at
a shovel
at one of his grocery stores. Okay, it's ridiculous. We all know it's ridiculous. You have to have a driver's license to do virtually everything in America, whether it's getting on an airplane or buying a home, buying a car, you name it. You have to show an ID.
Greyhound bus.
Yeah, I mean, it's just anything now. You have to show your identification, except for voting. Why? And again, we all know the answer. We all know why they don't want.
They can cheat.
Of course.
One of the greatest hypocrisy moments was John Ossoff. John Ossoff, who's against voter ID, required a voter ID for people to get into one of his town halls.
Right. It's remarkable. It's remarkable that it's good for me, but not for thee. Look, this is as old as time. These arguments, the hypocrisy. The Democrats know no shame. They know, no boundaries to decency, and they have blown past being liberals. Look, John F. Kennedy. And some of the great Democrats in history would be rolling over in their graves to see what the Democrat Party has turned into, what they have become. And so it is shameful. Their grasp, their embrace of communism, of socialism is quite honestly for somebody with children and now a couple of grandkids, it's scary to think where our country is going to be. In 10, 20, 30 years from now. And Tom, we have to, that's my reason for why we have to elect Republicans in the majority in the House and Senate, because we are on the precipice, and where the Democrats take us is a frightening thing, and it should scare every American. It really should.
So this is the time. This is why I said, and I got just skewered for it at home, but I don't care. It actually, if you saw my primary the other night, I had over 80% of the vote, even though they tried to claim I was a racist for saying that Somali fraudsters who come to this country and refuse to assimilate. I mean, we'll celebrate everyone's culture, but you come to America to be an American.
That's
you
right.
Celebrate America. If you don't like this country, Ilhan Omar, then get the hell out of here.
That's right.
Go back to wherever you came from and just don't let the door hit you on the rear end as you leave.
I couldn't agree more. Assimilation is a word that is not used anymore. Everyone, listening to the show, the people on the show came from somewhere at some point. Okay. And so, in my household, my grandparents didn't allow my parents and my uncles and aunts to speak Italian. Didn't allow them to speak Italian because they said, if you don't learn English, you cannot succeed in America. And it was just a different way of life. Today, the Somalis, and others from across the globe come and they look for an area that they can go to so that they don't have to assimilate. They can speak the language and the culture stays the same. That's not what America is.
No. We're not creating little Somalia in the U.S.
That's right. You come here to be an American, not to be a Somalian living in America. That's a different thing.
What do you think of DFW Airport now putting in foot bathing?
It's wrong. It's wrong, John. I've had enough of this. Public schools in Minnesota do this stuff. Knock it off. You're not going to impose the Islam religion on Americans. You're not going to do that. If you want to practice Islam, go ahead. Go ahead. Right. As long as you're not one of these radical left-wing Sharia, want to take over the world, and the infidels are anyone who doesn't practice our religion. By the way, Minnesotans hate this. This makes them very uncomfortable. But those people are here. They are here.
But
That's
don't you have a lieutenant governor?
Yeah.
Don't you have a lieutenant governor that's part of the problem, not part of the solution?
Oh, she's a nutbag. Get ready, David. This is going to be fun. Michelle Tafoya is going to put a Minnesota Senate seat on the map for the first time since Norm Coleman was our great senator.
Very exciting that Michelle Tafoya is going to, I think, has a very good chance of winning. Look, the Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, I believe, is somebody who took the sides of of those that were creating the fraud that we all saw.
And burning the city down.
It's just incredible that she sides with those folks over, the taxpayer, over the law-abiding citizen. I just find it to be remarkable that anybody could go vote for her now.
Well, David, just keep in mind, she is just a slightly more masculine version of Tim Walz. They are, in fact, the same person. I mean, she is up to her eyeballs in the same fraud scandal that he's in. I mean, this is $9 billion under the 7.5 years of their watch, right? She was obviously in the last term, but she was there. She's in Minneapolis. You've already said that she sided with those people. There's what's really interesting is you realize up to $9 billion in fraud, and not one public official in my state has been held accountable, indicted, nothing. How do you let that much money go out of your oversight without knowing?
That's right.
It's incredible. Tom, we've got to bring in, you're welcome to stay here with Dave Bossie on the line, Joe Gruters.
Hey, Tom,
Chairman.
Thanks so much for joining us today. I appreciate it. It was great.
Thank you, guys. Have fun.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Thank you
Loved
for being with us. Tom Emmers, as always. Tom, thank you. Extended segment, got to cover a lot of stuff, Dave.
Yep.
Joining us now by phone is Chairman of the Republican National Committee, Joe Gruters. Joe, thanks for being with us. I know your schedule is tight. We're live in Washington, D.C. You're here with John Fredericks and Dave Bossie, your good buddy, committee man, Maryland Citizens United. Dave, take it away. Joe Gruters.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, I didn't think you could make hey, Bossy, what's going on? I didn't think you could make a show any better, but having you as a co-host, I said, how can I not come on today?
Well, that's
Thanks,
awfully
Joe.
nice. I if you would just return my phone calls every now and again, that'd be good. So look, no, Joe and I have been, long time friends, and have served together, to try to help President Trump at every turn. For so many years, so many fights. I had the honor of helping nominate Joe for RNC chair. What was it, a year ago now?
Yep.
A year ago. And you nominated me for numerous other positions over the years. You have been a solid friend of mine.
Well, Joe's doing an amazing job. Joe is the reason that the RNC is going to be ready to win a lot of these victories come November, because he is building the highway that these candidates are being able to drive their vehicles on, in essence. And so whether it's voter integrity and the lawsuits, and Joe, I'd love to have you just talk about some of the most important work that the RNC does, because I don't know that the listeners really understand it, but also how you and the RNC and the party in general are making communism and socialism really, in bold letters, in neon signs across this country, because the Democrats have blown way past being liberals, and they're embracing socialism and communism and not shying away from it.
Well, you're exactly right. We have to show that contrast, and that's what we're going to do when we go over to the midterm convention. We're going to have a whole couple of day experience at Trumpapalooza, where we'll be able to showcase all the great things this president has done this first 2 years, and all the great things he wants to continue to do, and how the left have continued to nominate these mini mandamis from coast to coast that fundamentally want to change the way you live. They hate America. They want it. They have candidates that want to get rid of July 4th, that want to get rid of Thanksgiving. They want to erase what America is all about. They want to take away your ability to achieve the American dream, and they want to replace it with a government is a solution for all. And in terms of election integrity, the Republican National Committee is bringing the absolute hammer from coast to coast. I think we filed more lawsuits this cycle than in the history of the party, and it's because every single day, and I'm not kidding, every single day the Democrats try to lie, steal, and cheat their way to victory. And the only way to stop them is through litigation. And sometimes it's reactive. Most of the times it's proactive, because we got to get ahead of the curve. We for a long time we were reactive in our lawsuits, and it cost us by the time Election Day rolled around. So we're way in front. I think we have over 180 active lawsuits right now. As a matter of fact, I think we filed 5 lawsuits just last week, and it's a constant attack from us to make sure that we're staying ahead of it, because they believe that power and control is worth everything, and we have to stop them, and that's why we're being so aggressive. And that's just the litigation portion. We already have, we may have about 250 staffers we've already hired up, deployed to different states, and at least half of those are election integrity staffers to ensure we can have eyes and ears and recruit enough workers and lawyers to help us. And by the way, we're already over from a recruitment standpoint, we have higher numbers this cycle than we did in 2024. And Watley and Laura Trump did such an amazing job in the 2024 cycle. We're building on what they built, and we're going to make sure we have a strong presence everywhere.
Joe, can you give us the state of affairs with the Democratic National Committee? You guys got we have $130 million. Joe Groot is chairman RNC. Your counterpart over at the DNC, they got $2 million in debt. They had to borrow money. They had to actually put their building at the DNC up for collateral. They're getting no money. Donors are abandoning them. What is the deal going on over there, Joe?
Well, the DNC stands for Do Not Contribute. What a disaster that chairman has let him down. And, it was just a couple of months ago where people were praising him for winning all these races that matter at the local level but don't matter at the midterms. When the president asked me to do this job, he said, Joe, we got to win the midterms. We got to defy history. Only 4 times in the last 150 years we've been able to do it. But can you do it? And I said, yes. And so part of the plan was, and we knew the Supreme Court case that nobody's talking about, this coordinated campaign limits, was coming down the pike, and we thought we had the legal arguments to win this. And it's the biggest thing that's happened that nobody's talking about. It's going to be the biggest game changer, because now we could directly coordinate with our federal campaigns. And most people don't understand that once we spent like $66,000 in a congressional race or a Senate race, we had to build a wall, and we could no longer communicate with that campaign. Well, now we could communicate with them every single day. We have the best operators in the country, people like Dave Bosse, right? The best, literally, these guys that are geniuses in D.C. that now we could deploy. We could look at every single one of these races, work with their campaign managers, work with their general consultants, know exactly where they're at. But the kicker is we could spend at the candidate rate. And so you talk about the $130 million cash on hand. That's really worth about $300 million in terms of actual campaign ads. And when you go up 50,000 feet and you look at the races in play, and I always say go to the Cook Political Report if you're scrolling on your computer to see exactly where some of these races stand. They have in the Senate, we're 53-47. We're in great shape. I think we either stay at 53 or maybe even pick one seat up. On the House side, which is a lot closer, I actually think we're going to do better than we're going to do in the Senate, because we have 212 seats that they have us as likely to win. There's 18 seats that are considered toss-up. Those toss-up seats are 18 for the whole country. And when you think about the fact that we have superior resources for the first time ever, never in modern history have we been able to outspend the Democrats. And then when you think about the president has gone out and endorsed a lot of these candidates that we need to win, so we have our prize MAGA warriors fighting for us, and the Democrats have these mini Mondami, Democrat socialist, radical leftists running against our prize fighters. We have our fighters. We have the money. We have the messaging. We're going to do things that have never been done before. We have the best showman that's ever existed in Donald J. Trump. We're going to, go out there and do 30-plus rallies around the country after the midterm convention, and we're going to absolutely dominate these guys. Because you know why? There's no option other than to win. We have to win, because if we don't, it's going to be investigations, it's going to be obstruction, it's going to be 2 years worth of impeachments, it's going to be total chaos, and that's why we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we put victories on the board.
You know, Joe Brutus, this is why I love having you on, because sometimes I feel like I'm the only guy in national media predicting victory. I got every one of my colleagues are saying gloom and doom. We're going to lose, 5 seats in the Senate. We're going to lose 30 seats in the House. I mean, what you just pointed out is reality. 212, lean our way now. Obviously, you got to work to hold those. 18 are the biggest swing. Well, we just got to win 6 of the 18. We just got to win 1/3 of those. They got to win 2/3, and they don't have any money. And they got
You're exactly right, and that's why redistricting was such a big deal. And I was in Iowa this week. I'm in Iowa right now. I'm at the airport, ready to come back home. But 2 of the seats that are toss-ups are right here: Miller Meeks in Nunn. But 2 incredible congressmen that I spent the week with, they both have done 500 local events already. They have a lot of cash on hand, a lot of momentum. It's unbelievable in what we're going to be able to bring to help them focus and energize them with the resources and everything else. So 33% of the votes, the races we need are right here in Iowa. That's why I said the road to the majority starts here in Iowa. But at the end of the day, you're exactly right. We need 6 out of 18. Think of what would have happened if we didn't do redistricting. We would have had to run the table. Now we need 6 out of 18. Very doable. If you look at that list of candidates, I predict we win 10 or more.
Yeah, Joe, let's talk about the redistricting effort, the result of the Calais Supreme Court case, really has redrawn a lot of key races for us around the country. Primaries are coming up in Florida around the corner, where you were state party chairman. And I'll put a plug in for your much better half running for Congress down in Florida. She's going to be our nominee. Tell us a little bit about your home district, why she's going to win. So you there? Time for Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Joe.
No, I'm so sorry, David. I lost you there. But, yeah, Florida is of critical importance. We have a couple of primary states next week, Alaska and Florida. Yes, my wonderful wife is running in the Florida 16, CydneyGreuters.com. She's a lot more conservative than me. She's a winner. She's much better looking. She'll be a great MAGA warrior up in D.C. And then we have and we have 8 seats that are going to be turned over in Florida. 4 because of redistricting, 4 because of retirements. But you're going to see a brand new wave of Republican congressmen coming out of Florida. I think we win all 8 of those. And then in Alaska, we have a primary next week. And, the big story there is the fake Dan Sullivan that the Democrats propped up to run against our U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan. Right. Obviously, a critical, a super important race. Then you talk about the Senate, you got the Vendeman, the guy who is who, if you look at Trump derangement syndrome in the dictionary or online, Vendeman is the number one guy. He's a transplant, just moved here, was shopping Senate seats, complete loser, completely obsessed with the president and what he does. Ashley Moody's is going to curb stomp him in November. But we're in Florida, we're looking pretty good. In Alaska, we're going to continue to do whatever we can to make sure that Dan Sullivan's in the position to win.
Yeah, tell us about how ranked choice voting is. I'm not a fan of ranked choice voting. I think it's
because it's meant to confuse people. I was just in Alaska. We were there to prop up Dan Sullivan, but really to talk about this ranked choice voting. They have a separate effort where they're trying to deliver resources to that effort. It almost passed 2 years ago. But this is how, if people don't like their representatives, it's, in Alaska, the only way to beat it is the senators in Alaska, the way to do it is through ranked choice voting. And we got to get rid of it. There's on the ballot this year. We're going to make sure that ranked choice voting goes down. And then in 2 years, we may have some different options there.
What are we doing with the mail-in ballot effort? We've done very well. As you know, I'm a proponent of early voting because you have to play the hand you're dealt. And I algorithms, all that's nonsense. So we've done very well now in getting our voters to embrace early voting, get their votes banked. But Joe, we're getting crushed in the mail, crushed. Do we have an effort here that we can be competitive with these mail-in ballots as they exist now?
And listen, this is where leadership really matters at the state and local level. You know, in Florida, as Bossy knows, you know, we have a pretty robust mail-in program, and that's how we started to win in Florida. At the end of the day, we just need to make sure all these ballots are safe and secure, and I wish everybody could run it like Florida does. Our absentee ballot program, you have to provide additional information and steps to make sure it's, you know, you're who you say you are, and it's one citizen, one vote. And there's ways to do that. We have a state of 23 million people in Florida. We could deliver results within 60 minutes, and everybody has full faith and confidence in the system. But yes, at the local level, we've been working with our state party chairs, and then hopefully they've been working with their local chairs about how they can improve ballot chasing and how they can listen. It's all about, as a local party chairman, which I was for 14 years, and as state chairman, which I was for 4 years, everything is about registering voters and turning those voters out. And however people want to vote is how they should vote. We just have to make sure that it's safe and secure and that the Democrats aren't cheating. So that's what we're focused on. But we're well on our way to having a lot of success this cycle.
Joe, what's your assessment on the 5 seats that we should pick up in Texas?
You're talking about the 5 congressional seats?
Yes, the ones that came from the redistricting. Are we going to go 5-0 there?
We should go 5-0. There's one seat Texas, I think, has 3 seats that is on our map, and in my office I have a giant map of about 45 races that could be competitive, and I think Texas has 3 of those. But I think those are more leans. There's one, I think, competitive Texas seat. I think we're going to be just fine in Texas. I think Paxton is going to be fine. Listen, Texas is a ruby red state. If Beto couldn't win against Ted Cruz, there's no Talafrico is going to win against Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton has proven he's a winner. He's won numerous times statewide. He just crushed a 4-term incumbent U.S. senator. The guy knows how to win, and I'm fully confident that a rising tide lifts all ships. We should be successful in all those races there.
You know, Joe, I've said this before, but I have to say it again. You know, I've been doing this a long time. The communications department you put together at the RNC is the best that I've ever seen. And I've been there a while working with them. Zach and Molly are absolutely fantastic. I've never had outreach the way they do. They're available whenever you want. And, for people like us that are, I'm in D.C., I'm a White House correspondent, you're looking for information. You want to be able to talk to people, get the inside scoop. I've never dealt with a communications team at the RNC that's been better than Zach and Molly. I mean, they're right on everything, and we get a tremendous amount of information. Their follow-up is immediate, and I just want to tell you, for people like me in our business, that is absolutely critical. And so I really want to give a shout-out to them and the entire team, because that's only the 2 leaders. I mean, you go right down in there, you've got some of the best young people you've ever had in there, and it's really making a difference, Joe.
We have great operatives. We have great staffers, and that's why that coordinated campaign limit law being thrown out by the Supreme Court is such a big deal, because our guys are 1,000 times better, 1,000 times smarter, and we're going to be able to work with these campaigns on a daily basis, and they're not going to be able to compete. As a matter of fact, their staffers are afraid of having phones thrown at them, and they're all hiding underneath their desk. Our staffers are literally the best and brightest people in the country, and we're coordinating and moving forward together. It's a great thing. I'm so thankful that you guys had me on today. Bossy, you're the absolute man, one of the smartest guys in politics, one of the original architects of the president's movement and the MAGA movement overall. I appreciate everything you've done for the party and for me, and thankful for both you guys being on the program. Let me be on the program today.
Joe, you have a super weekend. I know it was short notice. Thank you for joining us. And
thanks, guys.
Yep. All right, brother. You got to jump, or you got one more question? You got time for one more?
He's gone.
We just lost him. Actually, he hung up.
He had to jump.
I knew he was tight.
What was your question?
No, I just wanted him to tell us a little bit more about Dallas. What's going on at the midterm convention, because I think that is really an inflection point for us as
Why do you
as
say
an
that?
organization. Because just like coming out of Milwaukee, right? We had energy. We were able to tell the American people it's not it wasn't a one leaf at a time. It was the entire forest. You could show people during the course of several days. You could really articulate our message and what our brand is, meaning freedom and liberty, and smaller, more efficient government, and what our candidates are saying versus what their candidates are saying. And I think Dallas, this first time we've ever seen a midterm convention, uh, with the Democrats being in disarray from a party standpoint, organizational standpoint, financial standpoint, they couldn't pull that off, and they're not going to try to pull it off. We have a couple of nights where in prime time, I don't know yet how the American people are going to be able to see it in its entirety. But the vice president, the president, members of the cabinet telling the story of what Donald Trump has done and attempted to do and been frustrated with, what his vision is for the next 2 years, putting all that forward and packaging it in Dallas for the American people, so that from that, what Joe was talking about, the president's going to be campaigning across the country from that moment on. The moment that ends, it's full steam ahead, and the president's going to be, I think it's somewhere in the 30s, how many rallies he's going to do in that following 6 or 7 weeks. And the level of intensity, the purpose, the ferocity that President Trump campaigns with. That's one of the reasons that we won. We beat Hillary Clinton. He beat Joe Biden, obviously a couple times. But it's that intensity, the ferocity of the campaign, where people just can't believe they're seeing him, in upstate New York on Monday evening, and then in Detroit a little later on Monday evening, and then on Tuesday he's in Vegas, and then in Phoenix, and then on the next day he's doing North Carolina, Florida, and Alabama. It is an intensity that the American people respect and respond to. He's able to articulate. He's the greatest showman. He's able to articulate these messages unlike anyone else. You can't say that our candidate in any race in the country is going to deliver what needs to be told to those voters better than Donald John Trump.
Oh, that's the purpose of the convention, is to bring everything together. You brought up Milwaukee, which I thought that was the greatest convention that I attended ever.
Wow. Well, thank you.
In getting the message out, in having it the cohesion that was there. And I think we walked out of there, unlike Cleveland, which we still had fights going on.
Sure.
Cuccinelli and Cruz and et cetera. And they booed him off the stage. And then Edelman wouldn't let him in his suite. We went through all that in Cleveland. We didn't get that in Milwaukee.
No.
Everything was just clean. We had a unified message, and it was very inspiring. And so, when this idea of the convention came up, a lot of people were saying, should we really spend the time and money on it? Should we be out knocking on doors? And I think you're right. I think, 2 nights of here's our message, which we've not done a good job at. I mean, you admitted that when you came on.
Yeah, I think
so. This is a reset, right?
And I think this is an opportunity to be a reset, an opportunity for us as a national party with Donald Trump as our leader to really educate the American people, drive straight through the mainstream biased media that he has to put up with, that we have to put up with.
Are they even going to cover this?
Well, that'll be interesting to see. I think they're going to be, some of them will be guilted into it. Some of them will just try to ignore it as though it's not happening. The American people are smarter than that. The good news is there's opportunities, whether it's streaming devices, streaming services, you watch it on your phone or your computer. You're able to watch it on TV at home, but not through a network, but through some service that you
through what
that
you're
right,
seeing now.
Right, it's exactly
We're
right.
on TV right now.
So I do believe that there's an opportunity for us to bypass the media as we continue to do over the last many years. Donald Trump has taught us that.
I think we seized the narrative in Dallas.
We have to, and look, we don't, and that's look, that's a month from now almost. So we there's a lot of things that are still going to happen, between now and then. And I think that's what the American people send, make their vote to send someone to Washington that's going to do what they promise they're going to do. Mm-hmm. And that's really, the frustration is the gridlock. Mm-hmm. And the problem is if we don't turn out, if everybody who sits and who listens to this show and other conservatives across the country, if we don't turn out,
forget about it.
Forget the gridlock. You think gridlock, we have it now? You ain't seen nothing.
We got
because it is going to be horrendous. It is going to be socialism and communism in every turn legislatively, but it's going to be impeachment. And it's not just impeachment of Donald John Trump.
Everybody
it's going to be
in the
impeachment.
Cabinet.
It's going. That's right.
Just drag him in.
I mean, Pete Hegseth, who is an incredible patriot, doing an amazing job across the world, taking the fight to our enemies, whether they are terrorist organizations, newly created terrorist organizations minted under that are bringing drugs into this country, whether it's Venezuela, whether it's Iran, you name it. They have been running an incredible military operation, and at the same time handcuffed by Congress by not passing their budgets. So they're endangering us at the time when we should be fully supporting the military.
It's going to be it's one after the other. It's all it's going to be. But I think this convention is really an opportunity. Let's get to one other thing, Dave, before we close. South Carolina runoff is in 11 days, August 25th. My take, I think Darlene Graham is in big trouble. I think Ralph Norman is going to win that race. I've been around the block in these things a long time. She got Trump's endorsement. She got 33% of the vote. Norman got 24%. 66% of South Carolina Republicans voted for somebody else. I see most of those people going to Ralph.
Yeah, historically, you're exactly right. The person who comes in first in that kind of a jungle.
And she got the endorsement of Trump, and 66% voted no. So that's not going to matter going into the runoff. They've already made the decision to go with somebody else.
That's right.
That's number one. And then my other reason sparking her defeat is what I'm going to call the Amy Coney Barrett burn, because I didn't know enough about her. I'm a Catholic. I got sucked into the whole thing. She's going to be great. Notre Dame, foster kids, big family, etc. She's going to be conservative. And, she's turned out to be the David Stewart of our time. So I got burned with that. And, I don't think people want to get burned again. Ralph Norman, you know exactly what you got. You know how he's going to vote.
Yeah.
You know he's MAGA. If he's in the Senate, no filibuster, no parliamentarian, the whole bit. Darlene Graham, maybe, I don't know. You know what? I'm going to bet a baseball game tonight. I might lose $50. I'm not going to roll the dice on Darlene Graham because I don't know her.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
She's a total unknown.
Am I making sense?
You are. Look, I love Ralph Norman. I've known Ralph Norman for a long time, many, many years. His grandson and my son, we're in college together and know each other, and just a tremendous family. I think Ralph would be an incredible United States Senator. Darlene Graham is an unknown. If she did not have, let's just be honest, if she didn't have President Trump's endorsement, would she have even finished in the top two?
No.
And I think that's right. And so, President Trump loves a winner. I think what we have to do is see what comes out in the polling in the next day or two. There should be polling any minute. There hasn't been any yet that I've seen of just a head-to-head. It's going to be very interesting to see.
I think she's going down and Ralph Norman's going to win. And I just don't want to take the chance. Maybe she'll be fantastic. Maybe she'll be Amy Coney Barrett. I know what I got in Ralph Norman.
He's a tremendous patriot.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
I know what I got.
No one questions Ralph Norman's defense of America, of our Constitution. But he is an America First patriot as 100%. Well. He believes in President Trump's. Look, he didn't support President Trump in 2016. I didn't like that. But that doesn't mean that Ralph Norman, you look at all the people throughout the last 10 years that didn't support Trump immediately, including Senator Graham, who came over and ended up being a tremendous ally of the president. Ralph Norman's right in that, in my opinion, right in that mold.
We're out of time. I hope you enjoyed our show today. Freewheeling, Dave Bossy. Dave, great job. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being with us. Michael Patrick Leahy next. Don't forget, Godzilla wins tomorrow, 9 to 11 a.m. Going to get my picks. My baseball pick tonight. Really easy. Just go to GodzillaWins.com, GodzillaWins.com. And don't forget, 6 o'clock, Game On America Sports with Frank Zaccanelli, former general manager, president, Dallas Mavericks. 6 p.m. We'll see you there. John Fredericks Media Network, Michael Patrick Leahy next. Have a great weekend.
Major development today in a high-profile stalking and murder case.
Luigi Mangione is expected to plead guilty as early as Friday in the federal case accusing him of stalking and killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.